charged me for time, and then it turned to free time.
So TCH Social, we're trying to expand and give a slightly more elevated experience. We wanted to have, the full bar, full restaurant experience. I think one of the things that has been lacking in some of our other locations is, provide, top quality food.
I'm Justin Richardson. I'm the corporate chef with Texas Card House.
Chef Justin, since he came on, has really helped us hone in on what our guests are really looking for.
The sweetness from the strawberry contrasts with the beautiful saltiness from the bacon.
I wanted to take something that was easy, flexible, and convenient for our players to enjoy so that they can continue playing, make it a little bit more of a homey, loungy, comforting environment versus your average poker house.
Yep. Chef Justin, how's it going?
Good, how are y'all? How was the game?
Oh, it was
Great. Awesome.
Man, we just did a tasting and it could not have been better.
So we came at the new menu with the approach of what do they already love? What do the guests already really appreciate? And what can we build upon?
Good news is Bad Beat Bacon's still good from the second time. This is the best Bad Beat Bacon I think I've ever had.
I definitely think the Bad Beat Bacon was one of those items that kind of set the tone for where we wanted to take the direction of the menu and kind of some of the concepts.
And those eggs are just waiting to explode over there. The tater tots, all the stuff, you get all the stuff mixed with it, really good.
The chicken sandwich was killer. It's thinking about fried chicken places, you think of Chick-fil-A, I'd put our chicken up against any of those.
Because I'm just such a nerd for chicken sandwiches and I love good coleslaw too.
So I haven't had, what is this? This is new.
It's French toast steaks. Oh my gosh. Man.
That's a little piece of the Bad Beat Bacon on top.
This is the best dessert I've ever had.
With French toast, you can overcook it, undercook it, but
That's perfect. This stuff in Vegas would be like
That'd be $80.
2 or 3 times the price. It would literally be like $24.
Celebrate Texas Card House Dallas' 4th anniversary. High hands from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. $1,000 drawings every hour from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Buy 4 hours for $44.
$500 drawings every hour, 24 hours a day, October 2nd through Sunday, October 6th. Free brunch from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Only at TCH Social Austin.
I already know what y'all have in the next 3 days.
Welcome to TCH Live. We are here at the new TCH Social in Austin, Texas. I'm Kyle Wemo Frisbee. I'm here with Uncle T. We've got PLO action for you guys tonight.
Yeah, we do.
Started here in a moment.
It's we had a PLO live stream a couple weeks ago with Fireman Scott in town, and now we've got some of our regulars and a couple others that we don't see as often playing PLO at the featured table. We'll go through everyone in just a minute. Just remind y'all, 4-card PLO, 2 cards in your hand play, and probably mansplaining a little bit, forgive me for that, but we always want to start off with an explanation of the game, and we're going to start off with the bomb pot, which is obviously PLO on 2 boards.
Yeah, this will be an exciting game. We've got a lot of familiar faces. I've played with probably half the table or more.
Yeah. Worldwide, seat 1.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My buddy.
Check.
Always fun to see it from this side.
We're on Hank right now. Okay.
All right, what do we got? Looks like the clubs draw. It's got Jack 8 of clubs I saw. Looks like the highest club draw. Too fast for the hands otherwise. Kind of a straighty board on bottom. Guapo has that straight. The 7-8. He has the current nuts.
Open ender for Todd on the bottom board.
And Pharaoh has the club draw.
Open ender on both boards.
Yeah. Not much on that top board. Obviously, Broadway hasn't gotten there yet. The suits are completely rainbowed.
Got everybody with some equity here.
Ryan's going to bet his set of tens.
4 out. Can you also
Oh
let
yeah,
Graham know
it's
that he
turn a
has
set
his
of tens.
Yeah, and he gets called by Guapo, who's got the nuts currently. A little surprised he doesn't come over the top, but Repot has not repotted. He's just called. And Pharaoh, our buddy Colette, Callie's got a bit of a mishmash, but the club draw is his main attraction. He does not get there.
Got a nut straight for Ryan on the top board.
Yep. And it looks like, is there a Jack Queen anywhere? Yeah, Repot has made his Jack Queen on the bottom for the current nuts. The worst card for Guapo, having one of your 2 cards to the straight hitting.
Yeah, so if nobody folds, which I don't expect, Ryan and Repot will be chopping this pot. See if they can get any more money in from the rest of the players.
Now, the Repot obviously is our buddy Worldwide, the Worldwide Aaron, who's renamed himself for tonight. And he's good with his name. He comes out with the pots. I guess he just called Ryan. No, he came over the top. Not really sure. I guess Ryan's thinking his 7-6 is good. Rhino, Poker Rhino. Doesn't have anything on the top of the king. So he's going to be the dead money.
Yeah, so
All right, guys, I need a rack. It was fun.
almost a $700 pot. Ryan and Repot will prop it 160. Always nice to build the stack a little bit early, even if it's on the more conservative side.
Yep, it is. As we roll into our first PLO hand, welcome to everybody on the chat. We'd like you to chat and chat often, comment, questions, anything. We'd love to get back and forth going. Not too many of you to start with, and for those of you that joined us, we're doing a PLO live stream tonight.
I didn't think we would limit this round.
Going around the horn, we get Repot and Todd in seat 2.
Okay, it's going to take me.
Pharaoh, our buddy
Todd.
Colette. What's that?
Have played with Todd quite
Yeah, I
bit.
played a bit, but not too much. Poker Rhino in seat 4. Lunchbox, our buddy Jelfrey in seat 5. Ryan, the regular Ryan, in seat 6. Guapo in 7.
We'll have to ask Jeff what the meaning of the lunchbox is.
Yeah, I asked when I went to the table, I said, who's Lunchbox? And they're like, it's Jeff. I'm like, why is he Lunchbox? Nobody had any idea.
Didn't give you a meaning?
No. He was not at the table at the time, so I didn't get a...
No, I just needed time, but it's all good now. 7 call, 8 fold.
Of course, we know Jeff very well from
1 call.
playing PLO and Hold'em tournaments with him.
4.
Yeah, we've played a lot of hours of Hold'em tournaments and PLO tournaments.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have.
C4 bets good. Can you put the blackjack on top?
So we got a 9 high flop, 2 hearts. Nobody with hearts here.
Nope. And Poker Rhino's actually got a good nose for this. His queens are good right now. And it looks like he's going to break it in.
Makes a
he got
very
one caller.
small bet.
Yeah.
4 of clubs on the turn, improves no one. So Rhino's overpair is going to be way ahead here. And it looks like it checks around. And I
yeah, he was
Rhino
a little bit
got
afraid
river.
of the, yeah.
Repot gets there with the ace on the river.
I think Rhino checked that 4 because it brought the wheel in, so he was a little bit reticent to bet. And then the ace ruined his day. So that was an interesting start-off hand. That's about as weak as you'll see a winner in a second place finish there.
Yeah, Rhino had 81% equity on the turn, and Repot gets there. Such is the perils of PLO at times.
Yeah, we were expecting Chase at the table. I don't know if he's sat down yet, but he and Aaron, I would anticipate, are going to be our most aggressive players tonight. Aaron being Repot. I got to get used to saying Repot. Yeah, Chase hasn't shown up yet. Oh, okay, that's a different Chase in seat 8. Oh, okay, I thought it was our buddy Chase who is.
Oh, yeah.
This is a
Chase.
different Chase. Okay, well, sorry, different Chase. I'll call you different Chase all night, so I won't mess you up.
A lot of non-consequential starting hands here so far. Hand number 3.
8 raise 15.
The other Chase has got queens.
Now we got a real hand.
Single suitor. Repot stays in, calls the 15, as does Todd. Both with small pairs, which I'll talk about later. Yeah, a lot of pairs. None of them as good as the queens. And nobody has an ace.
Wow, you really can't love this flop in PLO if you don't have an ace.
Yeah, now there's a hard draw for Chase. He may see a little bit more light in the top. There's a lot of hearts out there, so not as likely to hit the hearts. Not much of straight draws.
I'm sure you'd agree, Uncle T, you never want to go too far chasing a non-nut straight in PLO.
And Chase does give up the queens, which are almost never good here. For now they are, but he couldn't know that. And
King
a king,
in the river.
Yeah, king brings in a queen 10, which nobody has, but Rhino blocks it.
Unbelievably, Rhino's going to get there with second pair and a PLO hand on the river, which is
and he
say
bets
a rarity.
Probably going to get 2 folds. So the collect can be sticky, or excuse me, Pharaoh. I'm going to have to get used to these new names. But he gets it through. So it probably also going to be a fairly aggressive player tonight. Haven't played with Rhino before. He's not afraid to put some money in. That was almost as odd as the first hand.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, the other thing I think to point out too is Rhino actually profited just as much as the 2 players in the first bomb pot.
Yeah,
with what seemed like a smallish pot. But
yeah.
Very nice to win the second pair.
Live test.
I was hoping you guys did not have hearts.
Two pair, and I had a.
So on to hand number 4. Pretty connected hand here for Todd. Double suited 5, 6, 6, 7. He'll come along. Pharaoh with a nice starting hand. Suited ace with the king 5.
Rhino had also a pretty good hand. He's got the second nut diamond draw. As a diamond comes to the window and hits his king.
Yeah, we're going to have 2 pair for Pharaoh here.
Yeah. And a backdoor heart draw. Anybody that's played with Pharaoh before knows he's an extremely knowledgeable PLO player. Probably his specialty.
Ryan with a ton of outs to the wheel as well, so we might see some fireworks here.
Yeah.
Everybody with something.
Yeah, pretty much any low card is going to hit him here.
I guess we're lucky that Poker Rhino went with Poker Rhino since we have 2 Ryans here.
Yeah, it makes it easier.
Make it easy on us. So we've got a heart draw now along with top 2 for Pharaoh, so he's pulled even further ahead.
Yeah, you'll notice on our hand analyzer grid on the side that we've got the percentages of equity, and that's pretty good equity on a turn, 67%. And he takes it down with a bet. He is always aware of his hand strength.
He potted it there. I mean, he's at risk of somebody backdooring the nut straight, but he had so many, any heart that completed somebody else's hand was going to give him the nuts. So I could have seen him going for maybe a little bit thinner value there.
Yeah.
Or not thin value, but just a little bit smaller bet size.
Yeah, typically you're thinking about sets there. I don't want to see a paired board unless it's my ace or king, which is unlikely. So that's the other thing about having 2 pair in a hand. You're thinking about the board is not as likely to pair. It's totally different with bomb pots because you got 2 boards, obviously. But if you're eliminating, even getting 3 pair, okay, now if you've got a strong suit draw or nut straight draw, you're a little more confident because it's not as likely that the board's going to pair because you block that. So Khaled, Pharaoh is very, very aware of those kind of combination thoughts.
Got our first pair of aces here from Repot, along with Lunchbox with a pair of jacks. Ryan with a suited ace and a small pair. And it looks like he has just flopped the nut flush draw with his ace-5 of clubs. 8-9 deuce, 2 clubs.
Two pair for Pharaoh and 2 pair for Poker Rhino.
Yeah, everybody with some equity here.
Yeah. He does have the lower straight draw, Poker Rhino, but he's blocked pretty effectively from Pharaoh. I'm sorry, from Ryan.
6 of diamonds on the turn.
So diamond draws.
Pharaoh's got an open ender along with 2 pair. And the 4 of clubs on the river is going to give the nuts to Ryan. He cannot lose his hand. Always a great feeling. I like the bet size there. It can entice some calls from some weaker hands.
Just addressing what the previous hand, the difference in betting here. You got the nuts, but I always say there's nothing more suspicious than a value bet.
Right, yeah, especially in PLO.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll take that down. He did get a call there, won a little bit bigger pot, and that'll put him.
So we're going to talk about tonight some. I'm sorry, you were.
Oh, go ahead.
Talk about. We're going to talk about tonight some PLO thoughts. I always like to bring a little bit of a list of things to talk about with the chatters, or for those watching after the stream. It's kind of a PLO conversation. I tell people all the time, go play the PLO tournament on Tuesday night. It's good practice for. It's a little more expensive than it used to be on our Friday night PLO that we had at the old building. But it's a good practice for bomb pots. It gets you in a PLO mindset. Also, it makes it easier to translate if you want to play Big O, which is a whole nother level of variance. But we're going to talk tonight a couple things, and I'd love for you to chat and comment on the things we talk about PLO strategy and PLO do's and don'ts, of which I'm very familiar with the latter.
Yeah, it has so many similarities to No Limit Hold'em, but still a very different game. It takes
very
a little getting used to, but if you can get a feel relatively quickly. I mean, it can be intimidating for folks at first, but once you kind of see the hands people are showing down, it kind of, you can learn on the fly pretty easily. And we've got a pair of aces here for Poker Rhino.
And a lot of mid to small pairs.
Does somebody have a king?
I didn't see it. Yeah, Repot has a king.
Repot way ahead here. Also has a flush draw as a backup plan. But Poker Rhino is going to lead out with his pair of aces and the nut flush draw. So Poker Rhino and Repot here.
Clash of the Titan hands.
Yeah, probably about to put some money in the middle.
And
quads on the turn.
And now the unfortunate thing for Poker Rhino is he can't bet, but he feels like he's good. Diamonds don't matter.
Diamonds get there, but this is a really bad spot. Poker Rhino has the nut full house, but Repot with quads.
So look, pay attention here. Oh, and he gets snap called. Or no, he gets snap raised. He bets 50. Repot does. He's going to tank a little bit, but he's always going to come over the top here.
Yeah, I think Poker Rhino is about to lose his last 180 because he cannot fold and makes the call, and that'll be it for Poker Rhino's first bullet.
Yeah, not a recommended strategy. Unfortunately, there are so few cards left in the deck, even more so in bomb pots, that you've got to act like the nuts are there. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is, you need to have a little bit of a nut allergy to be cute. You got to be aware of the nuts and be very wary of the nuts.
I totally agree. And actually, that's an interesting hand. I'm glad it's still up on the board for a moment because if you think about it, looking at the run out, when repot comes over the top on the river, there's almost only a king that he can have because the other hand he would have was pocket aces.
Yeah.
So, it's just very unlikely that I'm not saying I'm good enough to fold the full house there, but that's a tough spot for Poker Rhino.
Yeah, that to me is always a reluctant call.
Yeah, the shrug call.
Yeah,
I got the flush too.
well, what do we always say? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to pay you off.
Yeah.
That's like the best thing that when you have the nuts that you want to hear. I think I'm going to have to pay you off.
So
I don't know how I can fold this hand. That's the other one.
Yeah, so Uncle T, whenever you make that statement or think it, what percentage of the time do you end up winning? Would you guess?
25%.
I was going to say around there for myself.
Yeah, I mean, that just catching me off guard like that. Yeah, I would guess. And that's, I have a very good poker player friend that used to be a neighbor, Phil Sidari, and his wife Ann, both great poker players. Ann came in 6th in that ginormous free roll that the Walmart had.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they're both very good. But he's like, Tom, he played with me a little bit, and we talked strategy. This is right before COVID. I found out he was poker playing. He's like, Tom, just assume recreational players have it. You'll be right 75% of the time.
True.
And that's why that number is stuck in my head. So probably 25% of the time, I'm like, you get one of two things. Yeah, I got it. Or nice call.
Right.
Or you're good. That's the one I love. You're good. But yeah, the fact of the matter is it depends on the pot. And my SPR, my stack to pot ratio, and a lot of other things, how deep I am. But yeah, I'd say 25%. What do you think for you?
But before I asked you the question, the number that popped in my head was 20%. So I was in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does seem like far too often you should just trust your intuition. So got a hand developing here. A set is turned for Poker Rhino, and he's all in for, it appears, just $40.
Yep.
And repot has...
He's got a set of 8s, so it's a pretty good turn for Rhino.
Repot with the nut flush draw, backdoor.
And if you play with repot /worldwide /Aaron, you know that he can be sticky. He's got a very positive attitude about his outcomes. No clubs for anyone. Looks like 8s are good.
Yeah, Rhino said it's going to be good, but that's a terrifying river. Queen 9, any clubs get there. But he'll win. Make a little back from the last stand.
Yep, got a workable stack now. We're not real deep tonight, as we welcome those of you that have joined us anew as we play PLO tonight. 1-2-5.
Early on, repot, you can see the numbers at the bottom of your screen. Player stack size to the left, profit to the right.
Oh, it looks like, did we get, oh, we did. We got, I don't know what he's going by on this. I don't want to use his.
Seed 8 is Iceman.
Not,
no.
Iceman is in, yeah, seed 8.
Chase is 8.
Yeah, he's at 9. Iceman and my Canadian buddy decided to join. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've played a good amount with Iceman.
Yeah, he's very good. I haven't played a lot of Fireman Scott. Fireman Scott is in the chat. Nice.
Great to have you, Fireman.
Yeah. Yeah, I wished you were here. We'll take you in spirit and in chatting. They had a good time a couple weeks ago when he was in town.
Yeah, I have to give him a shout out too for letting me put on his WSOP bracelet.
Yeah,
It's probably the only way I'll ever get to wear one.
Yeah, it's kind of like yeah.
I can say that I have now.
Yeah, you can say, well, I've worn one. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous. That's 2023 round of each Hold'em and PLO, correct? If that's correct? He was WSOP champion. Fireman Scott's in the house. As we get aces for Poker Rhino. Nobody. Oh, yeah, Chase does have a jack.
Chase is going to go way ahead here. Jack, Jack, King, flop. Poker Rhino, he's picking up some pre-flop hands. Unfortunately, he's just getting out-flopped a lot.
Yeah, that's the second time he's had aces, and he had queens. This time he's single-suited. He was unsuited in the last pair of aces.
So Lunchbox is going to lead out here with top pair, queen kicker. Pair of nines is a backup plan here.
8 call, 2 fold, 4 raise on left.
Poker Rhino's all in again. This pair of aces, he's going to be in bad shape here.
Yeah, once again, he did this jamming into kings, and he's picked a bad spot here. I mean, honestly,
I think SPR was a big factor there.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
He's kind of he's repping the set of kings, which I get, but Lunchbox is going to give his up. Chase is going to think about it. For this amount of money, $90, he's not going to fold. So. Yeah, I'd understand it here a little bit, Rhino being short stack, but I'd also like to see him have another Broadway card so he could at least turn nothing into something. He's not completely dead, but he's one outer. I don't think we saw another ace.
Rhino looking for an ace.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Chase's trip jacks will hold with ace kicker.
And once again, start with the nuts and work backwards. That was my joke as we started off. You got to have a little bit of a nut allergy to play PLO. You got to be aware of what the nuts are at all times from the flop forward, and then work backwards. So,
to that point, one mistake that I notice a lot of no-limit players who don't play as much PLO is overvaluing bottom or middle set. It's just not nearly as, in no limit hold'em, that's, you kind of have a lock on the hand, or at least that's what you think. You got to see the turn in the river, but in PLO that you have to tread carefully. You might already be drawing near dead.
Yeah, and that goes back to what we were talking about when we were doing our little dinner meeting before this, is you've got to constantly be aware of the fact that and this is really true in Big O, but flop sets are cash sponges. I mean, they will soak the money right out of you because you're hoping to hit that. And that's why I have a tendency to stay away from smaller pairs. I see in our tournaments and sometimes on the stream a lot of players playing their sevens or their fives, or maybe they're double suited and they talk themselves into it. You're so rarely drawing to the nuts.
Yeah.
Or there's probably 3 cards out there bigger than your pair that could be the better sets. And they're just a great way. Flopping a set of fives is like opening up your checkbook and you start to write, because somebody's going to get your money almost always. That's what I think anyway.
I totally agree. And what I kind of try to ask myself is, if I get there, will I still be nervous?
Yeah, you're guaranteed to be nervous.
Don't chase a spot that's a hard spot.
Yes. Yeah.
So we've got a hand developing here. Todd's pair of queens are still good. Nobody with the jack. So we've got a jack 7-5 flop and another 5 on the river. Double paired board. No flushes. I think the queens are good here. Appears that's where the pot is being pushed. So Todd's going to win a small one.
He's smiling either from the pot or from the massage from Alicia. One of the two. He may be smiling about both. He may just be in his happy place.
He could tip a little extra.
Alicia, one of our great massage therapists here in the room. I miss positivity. Albert, why aren't you here? Albert.
So we're on to hand 10 here. We will be with you until 10 o'clock Central. Thanks everybody for joining us. Hop in the chat, let us know where you're watching from. Always fun to see. Had people all over the world. Kind of cool to think somebody's up at 2 a.m. in the Netherlands watching poker in Texas.
Well, I have some friends in Portugal. It's about 4 or 5 a.m. and they've got a new baby, so maybe they're up right now. Oh, Albert, are you a long way off?
So we got an ace high flop here. 2 clubs.
I absolutely, I'm calling net jets right now, Albert. Just give me your locale, I'll send you the jet.
Appears Chase has the best hand here with his ace queen. Top pair, second best kicker.
And like everybody's going to get out of the way
pretty quickly.
Yeah. Like to thank our crew tonight for setting us up. Got Carolyn in the box, who always does a great job. David set us up. And I'm assuming, although I have not laid eyes on her, that Mel is in the production room. Did you see her?
I have not seen her
yet.
yet.
Okay, I'm going to get up and grab a piece of ice and throw it at her, which may be a bad idea in a server room where she sits, like throwing water around, you think?
Well, yeah. You might break a lot of things. Jay Stacks is also streaming on Facebook. Yeah, we're on multiple platforms.
It almost feels like it's better to do it like Orbit plus
Mario Rodriguez, which is the newest TCH. That would be this one here in Austin, Texas. Just opened a few weeks ago. Beautiful spot, restaurant, bar. Many more tables than the previous location.
You know, it's funny. We just had somebody come in the other day, and he was like, he played cash in the front of the room, and he did not even know. He did not even know that the back half of the room was there. And he came back to our table. He goes, "Holy crap! This place is huge."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Yeah, it is."
It is quite large and luxurious.
Oh, so by the way, it is not Melvin, my buddy Mel in the room. It is Kristen doing our production tonight.
Did see Kristen
our line
prior?
producer. Oh, you're East Coast, Albert. Okay, that's as close as you're going to give me. Northeast. Okay.
So we got an all hearts flop and turn, but nobody with hearts here. Appears Ryan's aces are good at the moment.
We've had plenty of aces tonight already for just hand number 11. And that card, I didn't see 8-10. Oh, there is. Repot's got 10-8. So he has got the current nuts, but it's not really anybody going to bet into this.
Yeah, I can't love the straight with all the hearts out there.
Make sure and show all four. He knows to do that. Remember, if you're playing PLO, you got to show all four. Don't muck those other two. Which is the newest TCH? Did you answer that question?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
yeah.
so you were saying this one. Yeah, this is actually the oldest and the newest at the same time. So the original location was TCH Austin. Back in the day, down south, gosh, I can remember going there. It was like I don't know. It was like a double wide in East Texas. And then, of course, we moved up north here. And then this new facility, which Whammo told you about.
I should have bet you all.
I was going to call.
3 of the 4 times.
Straight? Whatever you want.
So on to hand 12 here.
So she's just doing it every 30 minutes?
Right. Yeah, because
And
you have to
making
hit a
sure
gut
that
shot.
the same person does it.
Oh, Albert H., I guess, plays at Encore Boston. I've heard of that. Albert, is
Encore
that,
Boston?
Is that associated with the Las Vegas Encore? It's actually a nice
Is it?
facility,
I haven't been in there.
if you want to call it that.
Facility?
Yeah.
You do make it sound a little bit like a
Yeah,
outpatient surgical
I was searching
center.
for a different word, Uncle T. It didn't come to me. So we got a king high flop here and more aces here for Ryan.
Wow, again.
Double board PLO.
We are not, we're not lacking aces. Unfortunately, for most of the pairs, there's been another ace out there in the hands, so we have not flopped aces yet.
Yeah, we've had a ton of aces, but none really connecting.
No. And you know what? Our friend Robert, the dealer, Rock and Roll Robert, he always says that ace king in Hold'em and aces in PLO are just drawing hands.
Yeah, couldn't
and
agree
he ain't
more.
wrong.
Yeah, when I get ace king in a no limit hand, I immediately am excited, and then I'm immediately fearful of what's about to happen because
yeah,
you can end up in some tough spots. But got to follow poker theory and play it aggressively.
Well, we do have a queen 10, I believe, out there. Unfortunately, it's the clubs. No, I didn't. No, it wasn't queen 10. I thought I saw a straight.
Lunchbox has a set of eights and no equity.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah, it's the clubs, just the queen high
flush.
clubs. Yes. Yeah, second nut clubs.
And Pharaoh has the flush on the bottom board.
Yeah.
Lunchbox contemplating if his eights could be good. Unfortunately, in this spot, he would be donating to Pharaoh and Ryan.
I don't really want those rivers to reverse.
Lets
it go. Good fold.
Yep. Jeff's good at. I asked him one time. I said, all of this GTO. What do you think this? What's the main takeaway from it? Because he knows all the numbers, and he says it's just a really, really good excuse to fold. I'm like, that's what that is?
Yeah.
It's the best thing you get out of it. Is you get better at folding.
You know what I've noticed about GTO players, to add to that, I agree. It's a good excuse to fold, and it also seems like a good excuse to overplay middling pocket pairs. Because GTO will tell you that
the
you
more
should,
valuable. Yeah.
but it's really tough to navigate post-flop, especially if you're playing in a little bit lower stakes.
Yeah.
Because I think in higher stakes you can be a little more, I guess, following of GTO.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I always say that going to a high stakes game for me is easier. It's playing it, with the guy that sat down with $150 in front of him, and he just lost 30, so he's ready to jam, and you've got a pair of sixes, and you're like, I cannot reasonably put his hand range into my head.
Yeah.
His range is Idaho.
You got to have players that are playing generally sound ranges to feel comfortable sticking to GTO.
Yeah. And that's why I always have down in my PLO notes, don't get married to those small pairs. But it's not it's not just a PLO thought. If you hit the set, don't go running around the room celebrating in Hold'em. Certainly not PLO. And play those hands a little bit like, grenade that the pin is just barely hanging on,
Nut flush draw here for Ryan. Now we turn a 9 of diamonds on a queen high flop.
Chase bets his set.
Yeah, Chase turns a set. It's going to bet out.
I think Iceman will probably call. He's got, obviously, all of the draws to the straights.
Lets it go, though.
Wow. Yeah, Ryan's definitely going to let
Probably
this
a
go.
decent fold, just given there's 2 flush draws out there, so if your straight gets there and it's one of those suits, you still are uncomfortable. But
A little surprised by the call by Ryan. He does get the spades, but unfortunately it's the board pairing. So that's going to make Chase the boat, although he's got to be a little bit afraid of queen 5, queen 2, if somebody would call with those. But he does bet $300. Pot size bet, a little bit more. $250. I'm sorry, it was a pot size bet.
Yeah, Ryan has to pay it off with the nut flush there, so.
And nice little pickup.
Very nice. Yeah, Chase running pretty well thus far.
And he seems to be playing, we don't have a profile on him yet, but he seems to have a pretty good understanding of his range and when to give it up. He's had some big pairs that he's given up already. And he is out in front.
Yeah, in just a few hands, it feels like Chase is probably a pretty experienced PLO player.
Yeah, I agree. Looks like Kelly's next on the massage list for Alicia. She's going to get some airtime today.
Keeping Alicia busy.
Yeah. She usually does stay busy. She's good.
Guapo's got a suited ace here.
Of our player profiles, I would probably Guapo and Todd are most conservative, tighter PLO players, very experienced PLO players. Jeff can be that way as well, but Jeff can also use his position well. I've seen that over and over again.
Queen Jack Deuce, 2 clubs. Nobody with we actually do have repot here with a gut shot and a flush draw. So he'll have about half the equity along with Guapo, who's flopped middle pair and some backdoor straight draws, along with the backdoor flush draw. And the backdoor flush draw begins here with the 6 of spades.
75 is good there.
So Repot's going to bet 75 here, and Guapo mulling his options. Can't let go of a nut flush draw.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Although he misses, the clubs get there. I will say, Repot, I like 10-8 suited as much as anybody, but that's a little redundant. Amazingly enough, it's good.
10-8. A little unlucky for Guapo there. He actually had 75% of the equity going into the river. And
yeah, well, that's what we were talking about. Don't get married to your thoughts about equity. It's the variance in PLO is too high.
Oh, I'm not a premium guy. You can get me on Groupon.
You know, I mean, I have so many thoughts. We were talking about them before our stream tonight. You know, small pairs are bad. You know, tighten your flush draws. You know, don't have a flush draw any lower than a queen. Those are thoughts that I have. Bury your bluffs in the backyard. This is PLO, not hold 'em. You know, there's so many things like that, and one of them is, you know, that was a little bit of a bluff move by although he won the hand by Worldwide. I'm sorry, Repot.
You were chasing. That's it.
Yeah, it just happened to work out in his favor.
And I'm sure you would agree, Uncle T, but the burying your bluffs is very player dependent as well. Like, for example, a common bluff spot in PLO is, say you have the ace of spades and the flush draw gets there. You don't have the flush, but you block the nuts.
Right.
You have to consider, does this player realize that? You know, it's going to work against what I would say is probably a little bit better player, unless, of course, they have a read. But I think that would be a good example of when you have to choose your bluffs wisely.
Yeah, yeah.
Or bury them, as you mentioned.
Yeah, bury them unless you're just heads up and you've got a real sense of weakness, which I've done. I've done that with two other players in the hand. I just got a sense that these people are just hoping for, you know, the Skittles, you know, the rainbow, shoot out of the sky, you know, and throw sunshine and candy on their heads, and that's when I'll take a shot at that. But it's very, very limited that I'm going to do something like that. There's some other players that play it differently.
So multi-way flop, or to the flop here. We've got a king high board, 2 hearts.
Lunchbox has got the nut heart draw. Otherwise, it's kind of an absence of anything for anybody. that doesn't stop Lunchbox from taking the feeling about his equity to the next level. And
pretty good
jamming.
spot to jam there.
Yeah, and he's pretty short, all in for 220. And he, obviously, from the cards we saw, he's just going to take it down.
Yeah, no callers. Nice little profit there for Lunchbox.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
So just to get this straight, Albert, it's $13 every 30 minutes for that casino. Interesting. Encore.
Wow.
That's interesting. Obviously, we're less than that here, and we have no rake. So that's with the rake. Explain that to me. I'm so detached from that world. Living in the heaven that is Austin for poker. And he's saying that you also can't run it twice in low limit. That's just odd.
It would be difficult at lower stakes to make a good profit off $13 every 30 minutes unless you're playing, I would say, 2-5 or higher. Ryan with the aces here, suited with his queen along with the jack.
Well, we just are aces crazy.
Yeah, we've had aces
it's like
a ton.
50% of the hands have had aces, it seems like. I'm sure it's not been, but not been the best hand to have tonight. You look at the premium hands and you see ace, queen, jack with the suited spades. You're like, that's a really high value hand.
I do like what Ryan chose to do here. He made a pretty sizable raise, trying to thin the field a little bit.
Yeah.
Get some of those lower drawing hands out
Trying
of the
to
way.
keep the angle of the danglers out.
So we'll go to a flop here. A couple diamonds, queen high.
And he's got the nut blocker to the diamonds and the top pair, obviously, with his aces being better than his top pair. It's nice to have that queen in your hand, though, because it reduces the possibility that repot's got a queen. And there's nothing but a 9 for a repot. He's playing his the cards like he had a gin rummy hand and gave it up.
I always call that go fish when somebody starts looking at their cards like that.
That's exactly right. Go fish. Gosh, I haven't thought about that game in years.
When somebody starts go fishing, they're 95% going to fold, and if they raise you, you know it was an act.
Yes, and they are the fish.
Yeah.
They're not fishing; they are the fish.
I wouldn't have called if I had 3, but I had 4 cards, so I had to call.
All right, we are at hand number 17.
Pretty good strategy.
Almost an hour into our stream tonight. There's 85 of you out there in the chat, so welcome, and welcome to those of you that listen to this later on, watch our stream later on. We are here at TCH Austin, TCH Social Austin, the flagship of the Texas Card House family, with Guapo once again having aces. They're just everywhere. It's aces every time, all the time. Nobody has a 6. Iceman has an 8, so the aces are still good. But as you can see, not with a ton of equity because there's so many backdoor things that can happen. Don't really have a, we do have sort of a gutter to the 7, as I was about to say. For Pharaoh, he now has, believe it or not, the most equity, but he can't feel good about it. Doesn't stop Rhino from betting. He only has 4% equity, although he's going to get everybody else to fold. And we're going to an inconsequential ace at the end. The amazing thing is that the aces would have been, that board is incorrect. That's not a 9 at the end, that's an ace. I'm pretty sure. I saw that live. Maybe I saw it wrong. Well, sorry, folks. It showed that it was an ace of clubs at the beginning and then switched to a 9. And in any case, Pharaoh takes it down. Small pot. Yeah, I agree. So many people calling you with hands they shouldn't call. It's just, yeah, it's a landmine. Landmine, field, minefield, whatever. Yeah, it sounds like your 1-3 is our 1-2. Although sometimes our 1-2 can play like 2-5 or even 5-10 here in Austin. And it's a bit of a free roll. You know, that's what I always say about free roll tournaments is that you're just getting called down with so much crap. Nobody has any skin on the table.
7 call.
No aces this time, it doesn't look like. We do have a pair of 7s, that's about all. Graham, who's been quiet so far, I'm sorry, Iceman, is in this pot. No club draws. Smattering of clubs out there. Gut shot for Pharaoh. 2 pair for Guapo. Lower 2. Poker Rhino is going to bet his complete whiff. No help to anybody, that king. And now the clubs it in, they're going to shut down the action. Believe it or not, the ace is good.
Huh?
The ace is good. He has no pairs, but neither does Rhino. He had to recheck. Well, that's something you don't see very often. If I was Rhino, I would not show him my cards. So they're just all tight. Interesting.
Yeah, speaking of showing your cards, I had a fun hand the other day where I made a hero call with ace high and the guy flipped over a boat. So sometimes you just have to tip your hat and throw them in the muck and pretend like you were closer than you were.
Yeah. Wow, you really got there. Wow. I had second nut boat.
Yeah.
It
happens.
Yes. Yeah.
If you don't make those calls and you're wrong sometimes, you're probably not making them often enough.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Pair of jacks here for repot. Looks like king, queen, queen flop, 2 diamonds. Nobody with a king. So repot's still going to be ahead with his jacks, and an ace of diamonds on the turn is going to terrify everyone except for Poker Rhino, who has turned a flush, but it's a baby flush.
That hasn't stopped him before. He has definitely been the most aggressive player so far, and unfortunately he's down quite a bit because of it.
Yeah, he has been very involved.
Very involved, is that what you said?
Involved.
Involved?
Yeah.
I thought you said something else for a second.
Oh.
That had to do with large round spherical objects.
He will take that one down, though. Baby flush is good. Long way to go, only 19 hands in. As you know,
yeah,
those listening, it can be very swingy in PLO.
Yeah, but we're making it for PLO. It's good. It's a good average. We're gonna make 20, 21 hands per hour. That's pretty good.
Yeah, usually a little less than no limit hold'em, but
Yeah, we usually try to shoot for 100 hands per 4 hours in our live streams for Hold'em, so shooting a little bit lower with PLO.
5 fold, 6 fold, 7 fold. 8 fold. 9 raised 35. Call. 6 fold. 3 call. Okay.
On to hand 20, king high flop, Ashman with the king. Oh, and top set for repot.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas.
Nice, man.
And he gets bet into. It's always a nice feeling. Aces again. It's just like aces, kings, aces, aces, aces.
Yeah, repot. He is going to go ahead and raise it up. Wastes no time.
No, he doesn't want the diamonds to come in. He left with a. And that was one of the things that I was talking about as being one of my, sets on the flop are scary. They're so much less value in PLO. Now he takes it down, and I'm totally fine with that. You think, oh gosh, he cost himself value. No, flopped sets in PLO are so much less safe than top sets in Hold'em. I mean, I think there's more distance between those two hands than anything else in Hold'em and PLO.
I would agree.
Yeah. I flop top set in Hold'em, and I'm trying to figure out how to get every little drop out of this hand. I do it in PLO, and I'm like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
What do you have?
So
Yeah, I mean, that hand was a perfect example. I couldn't agree more with you, Tom. I mean, how many turn cards are bad for him? Any heart, any jack, any queen. There's a lot of any 9 was going to be scary.
Yeah, that in my mind, you get aces in Hold'em, your vulnerability is somewhat less than your vulnerability of having aces in PLO. PLO, they're much easier to give up. You get a 6-3 deuce board out there and somebody bets into you, you're like, okay.
Yeah,
and you're gone.
It's over.
So they're more difficult to give up in Hold'em, but their value is just. And you play against 3 players with aces in Hold'em, you feel nervous as a cat. But when you flop a set in Hold'em, even if it's bottom set, you feel really good.
Yeah,
because you know how hard sets are to make.
Exactly. When I flop a set, my brain goes, "This is my hand," and I have to be talked out of it.
Yeah. Yes.
By the betting.
And I ask people all the time. They say, "Yeah, I'm just always worried about set over set." And then I always ask them, "Okay, review in your mind the last time you got beat by set over set. Now maybe it was yesterday. Then think about the next to the
Very
last
rare.
time.
Yeah.
I haven't been beat with set over set as much as I've played." Outside of a tournament in cash, I haven't been beat set over set in the last week. So now you roll that to PLO.
It's going to happen a lot more.
It's going to happen all the time.
Speaking of sets, repot here turned a set of kings.
Good
so
timing.
back-to-back sets of kings for repot.
Once again, a big pair in a hand. We're just killing the big pairs. And in the case of repot, he's making sets of kings. And now he's making the nuts.
Yeah,
Next
Bill's
to
up here, and Ryan
quads.
in bad shape with top 2 on the flop. Has 1 mystery card. And looks like
He's reaching
repot
for-
is about to win another sizable pot.
Did he just jam? Or pot?
250.
Repot is going to repot.
This is what I had.
Just flat calls.
Wow, he had queens over 5s.
Oh, wow, that's a nasty
now
cooler.
our 4th card came into view, and I was like, what? Oh, that's the. I am so surprised Repot didn't come over the top of that.
Yeah, I mean, he loses to quad 5s, but I think that's one of them where, to your point about in Hold'em set over set,
Yeah.
you kind of just have to get it in there and live with it if
Well,
they're quads.
when somebody was talking about a Bopot hand I had that I won with the Royal, and ended up that the guy in seat 2, I was an 8, had quads. And they're like, and that guy was actually the only guy, except for a couple of these players, that I could see checking or just floating my last bet. Anybody else would have said, "Oh, if you got the royal, you got it. I got quads."
Wow.
So I get that thought process.
How many more years do you think you have to play poker before you beat quads with the royal flush again?
Let's see. I may be dead. Actually, I'm a lot older than you. I don't know.
A lot of years, right?
I mean, and that was a ball pot. Those are obviously a lot more frequent. Jesse, I was telling in the chat a couple weeks ago. Jesse dealt me a royal, a one-card royal, followed it up with aces, with a guy that was steamed that I had the royal. Like, dude, you couldn't even have the nut flush. I had a one-card royal. What did you think I had? And he dealt me aces, and I knew this guy if I just checked to him would jam, and he did because he was so torched up. But yeah, I don't expect to have that happen again. When he got this dejected look on his face when I showed my cards, I thought, oh, did you have the nut boat? And he goes, no. And the way you said it, I immediately knew he had the quads. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's an awesome spot. To our conversation about sets, is we got another pair of aces here for Chase. Guapo with the queens. My favorite spot in poker is flopping a set on an ace-high board when somebody has a big ace.
I want somebody to rewind and go back and look at how many aces we've had.
Yeah.
How many have we had to date? You remember we had set over set over set over set, not set over set, but set after set after set in that 1-2-5 game? This is just the same.
Yeah, this is a wild number of aces. 8-high flop here.
Chase has got the sixes.
Oh, and the set of sixes.
Yeah.
Good bet, though. That's what it was, too. Because I could have got away with it. If you potted, I was going to get away from it.
Albert, you haven't played poker in 2 months? Oh, my gosh.
I really didn't think you ever had a boat.
That's frightening. If I don't play poker in 2 months, Kyle, come visit me in the hospital. I'm in a coma. I am in a coma.
Well, I'm talking about going in camp. It's just literally just legendary.
Rebel Poker says a few years ago there was a royal which beat quad aces at the WSOP main.
Yes, I remember that hand.
That is brutal.
I do remember that. I remember the guy in seat 1 was the one that made it. I want to say it was one of the early hands, too. Yeah, I remember that very well.
Yeah, I remember another one. It was several years back, but it was an ace, a 10-10 ace flop. One player at ace 10, one player at aces. Very first hand of the main, and 10K gone.
Yeah, wasn't that Goldie Hawn's son?
I think he was.
He was
somewhat known.
He's
yeah.
Oh gosh, what's her daughter's name? That is the blonde that's so pretty.
Oh, Kate Hudson?
Yeah, I think it's Oliver Hudson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Oliver Hudson.
Pair of kings here for Chase.
I'm saying his board is like a backup.
Double suited ace, queen, jack, 6 for Pharaoh. He's going to 3-bet.
And what a surprise we have kings. What a downgrade from aces. And what a surprise we got another set of kings.
Another set of kings. Third set of kings.
Carolyn, you're spinning it tonight. You are spinning the web.
Ryan does have a heart draw. Everybody with a little something here. Pharaoh in bad shape. Imagine he'll be able to get away, though. Instead, he bets. Chase is going to raise now. As we said earlier, a lot of turn cards that are bad for a set of kings. And Ryan in the spot here trying to decide, should he call with his flush draw?
You know, once again, keep your flushes shallow.
Both players pretty deep in terms of the
Yeah,
game.
they are.
1.3K effective for Ryan.
Yeah, he's going to let this go.
He'll let it go.
Yeah, he's too good not to.
Yeah, good fold. So Chase seemingly scooping every pot he plays.
Yep. And he is our big winner so far, up a grand. But Ryan, who just folded that hand, is second behind him. We're pretty even right now. Poker Rhino pulling up the rear. Everybody else pretty well close to flush.
On to PLO bomb pot. Every player's going to put in 10 bucks.
Yeah, blackjack, I remember those days. I got my license when I was 21 years old. And I didn't go on a date for a year because all my money went into
flight school.
Flight school. Well, my parents were helping me with that, but gas.
Ah.
Aviation fuel is expensive, even for a Cessna. Back then it was a 152, which I was so happy to have a 152, which is a sweet airplane. Most of them were doing tail draggers. Yep, it sucks up a lot of money like poker, but it is very addictive flying.
That's how I felt about golf. Play a lot less golf these days. It's nice to have a hobby like poker. If you're a profitable player, you can go do it, enjoy yourself, and walk away with more money than you started with.
Yeah.
It's Poker Rhino.
Yeah, I agree.
In great shape here.
Golf is how I justify my poker, is he makes quads. So he's going to try to steal this one away, Poker Rhino, because and A7 is going to have a difficult time, although he's got a nut heart draw. If Poker Rhino hits this hard on and the heart doesn't hit it here, he'll scoop this.
It's all right. It's a little turbo-y,
but of course, it's going to be smart of Chase to know that he's probably got the quads. It's a great thing about three of them being on the board. What did he bet there? Only $40?
Has a scoop.
He does have the scoop.
right when this game will start getting good.
Chase makes the call, and Rhino's going to scoop a nice bomb pot here.
I don't really understand how he's got the scoop. Has he got it straight? 9-8. 9-8. Yes, he does.
Yeah, 9-8.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't see that
Here.
immediately. Now that helps him quite a bit.
So nice pot, 250 to Rhino.
Now I understood the value bet. I was really confused by the value bet.
That'll get him further out of the hole here.
Can you tell Uncle Tom that I dedicated that to him?
Oh.
So on to hand 24. Back to regular PLO.
That hand was dedicated to him. Oh, she said it.
Aww. Not any of the other hands.
Just that one.
Just that
No
one.
other hand. So don't mention it to us. Don't forget though. It's very important.
Chase here with a couple of tens. Going to choose to play it.
All right. 8 call, 9 fold. 1 call, 2 call, 3 call, 4 call. 5 fold. 6 raised to 30. 7 fold. 8 call. 1 fold. 2 to call, 3 to call.
So Ryan's going to 3-bet a pair of queens along with his pair of fives. Todd has a nice suited ace. Ace high flop with the 5-7 of hearts. So Ryan is going to flop a set of fives here. A little bit risky, bottom set. And he will go ahead and take it down with a bet here. Take his $100 profit to hand 25. Rebel Poker asks, when will the structure be out for the Trailblazer series? We'll show more info about the Trailblazer series here in a moment. You can find all that information at texascardhouse.com. Some somewhat motley looking hands here, everybody limping in. Ryan with the real hand. He's got ace jack, a couple of parts, pair of nines. And Chase now with the aces. Seemingly every hand. Got somebody with aces.
No, he didn't say it. He just got back.
So Chase is going to raise up the aces here. Makes it 90 to go. Looks like Pharaoh and Ryan are going to come along with Guapo. So 4 ways to a flop here. Sizable pot materializing. 400 in the middle. Jack high flop, couple of clubs, nobody with clubs. So Chase's aces are still going to be good. Does also hold the ace of clubs, which is not a bad thing. Blocking the front door nut flush.
245. Oh.
Well, I had 4. One of these one.
245. Fold, fold. Yeah.
Pharaoh's going to be all in here with his wrap. Chase has a tough decision with just an overpair. Is getting good pot odds. Chase in the tank. 245 to make the call. Pot is at 645. Makes the call. He's going to be right again. Basically a flip, though. So Pharaoh with a ton of outs and immediately gets there. Pharaoh's wrap is going to pay off. He will crack the aces of Chase. Nice pot for Pharaoh.
Yeah, I didn't like you calling it on my show.
So that will actually put Pharaoh into second place in the profit category. You can see along the bottom of your screen. Chase is going to take a little hit there. It's still leading the way.
Well, we thank all of you for joining us. We're starting up the Trailblazer series very soon, October 16th. Please scan this QR code. We'll give you a couple seconds to look at it and scan it. That'll give you the whole lineup. We have a number of big tournaments, and we will be live streaming a few we found out tonight. Our buddy AA Ron will be doing the largest tournament's final table. So we look forward to seeing you. It's going all the way, I think, through December. I mean, it is quite the series of tournaments, including, you'll love this, a bomb pot tournament.
I have yet to play a bomb pot tournament.
I haven't either.
It's definitely something I would like to do. Got everybody with a little something here. So Todd is going to have kings. Lunchbox is going to 3-bet with queens.
Saint, I'm not laughing. Or am I?
Yeah, that's what that's They look like he had kids.
We are not going to post your post. We live in Austin, Saint.
No, so it shows that,
Queens for Lunchbox, 10s for Ryan, 6s for Guapo. But not diamond draw. And no diamonds show up. We do have a set of 10s. And he's also kind of wrapped around that board. He can draw to the 7. For the straight. 2 clubs. No one has clubs. Kings may stick around, but it's going to be hard for anybody to call this bet by Ryan. And he treats it like a flop set. He's going to pot it.
Yeah, I think you have to try to protect your hand here. You're multi-ways.
I always say that pot on the flop, saying pot is a dirty word. Try to get value. But in this case, I absolutely agree. Your flop sets, he's going to get called off by Poker Rhino, who has 2 pair. No redraw. So if he gets that 9 or 4, it's not going to help him.
Yeah, a ton of turn cards you hate to see if you're Ryan here. I mean,
and
that's one of them.
Oh, mommy, you spoke it into existence. Or I
Rhino's going to go all in.
Oh, this is
snapped.
so. He's going to get snapped by the second nuts.
Drawing very thin here.
He needs a 9. That's it. I didn't see if anybody else had the 9.
Yeah,
they're going to run it twice.
Oh my gosh!
Holy crapperola! Holy
Rhino
crap.
gets there with quad.
Oh
Are they running twice?
Gosh!
What a turn card on the first
Wow.
board. Rhino knows it, enjoying himself.
Ryan.
That was.
Oh my gosh!
I don't think I've seen the one-outer quads to date. So
yeah, you know, right now Ryan is looking at Rhino going, what? But he's also extremely glad he agreed to run it twice. And I get running it twice there because you're never getting beat.
Yeah,
never. You hope he has a set of 9s. Oh my goodness, folks. You know, I got a word from our producer. Rhino is an old buddy of mine, former professional wrestler. He's my buddy. He's my pal. I'm going to, after that hand, I'm going to clean him up, bring him home, and raise him as my own. What the heck?
The one-out quad 9.
He dedicated hand 23 to me, they said. He should have dedicated hand 26. I'll take a cut, Ryan. Oh, my gosh.
I mean, if it was good.
Well, we have those suckouts a lot in Hold'em, a lot more than we do in PLO, but that was one for the ages.
Yeah, that's a top 5er right there.
It is.
That I've seen. Rhino living on borrowed time, borrowed chips.
He's living on a prayer.
Yeah, I think his profit was $40 in that hand.
Yeah,
It feels
exactly.
like he won 1,000.
Oh yeah. You're not getting felted for the second time. You're completely good with whatever you got.
Aces here for Guapo.
Aces and queens. I'd love to know how many times we've had aces and kings and queens. It's incredible. But who needs them when you hit the one-outer?
Obviously, it's much different, but I remember a no-limit stream where we went 90 hands before anybody had aces, which is a statistical high improbability. Repot's going to 3-bet his queens.
For those of you that watch MMA and watch Joe Rogan and the other commentators, they always do that thing when somebody gets knocked out where they grab each other. I just did that to Wemo.
We needed a booth video for that quad nines.
That's a good thing about having a team in here instead of just by yourself.
Yeah.
It's a lot more enjoyable.
It's kind of like if you don't go to the movies by yourself because you have nobody to look over at and be like, whoa, I can't believe that just happened.
Right.
It's the same with poker.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. I go to movies only by myself.
Depends on the movie, too.
Yeah, it does. I don't watch cartoons, so I'm not a Marvel DC guy. But, yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
I'm with you, Uncle T. I have not seen a Marvel movie to date.
At all. Well, I've watched the Ryan Reynolds. What's his name?
All-in-call.
Oh my gosh, guys!
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, he plays the Deadpool. I actually like
those are pretty good. And we've got a nut flush here for repot. Uses up more of his outs on the second board with the river 3 of diamonds.
Did have a draw at the bottom. Guapo did. The aces are going to hold on the bottom.
Chop it up.
He did draw to the wheel there on the turn. But so they're going to split $39 between them. As always, the extra dollar goes to the early position. The structure, that's a good question, Rebel, about the series that we have coming up. I had that question too. Again, I had a lot of problems with the free roll at Walmart because I felt like they just paid everybody on day 2, so it flattened out and really reduced the win for like my friend Ann that got, like I said, 6th place and only won $1,900 for all that time and effort spent. I asked her, what was your hourly, like $1.90?
Yeah.
I am always interested in structure. We do structure much better, much gooder here at TCH Social than you'll see at other places. Not necessarily every other place. I'm not going to. I like the structure of some of the other card houses here. I'll mention Shuffle because I have some friends that are down there, long way from here. Love their structures. So yeah, that is a really good question. I don't know when the structures will come out, but that's a very good question.
Yeah, and typically I feel like they do a good job here of adjusting the structure. Depending on the buy-in size, typically the higher the buy-in, the slower the structure. Which I would actually argue, of course you like a slower structure just because it gives you a little more time for skill to take over.
Yep.
But also if you play one of the lower buy-in tournaments, you don't want to play for 20 hours to win a smaller amount.
Yeah, the 300K that we had, I almost bagged twice, which is difficult because you feel like you bubbled really. But if I put in that time, I'm just going to tell y'all, if I get now, I understood it on that 300K because everybody was so close to the same stack. I understood the chop. I ain't chopping. I said to a player one night that I don't typically say no to chops, but I play those smaller tournaments that don't last that long. But I've been chopping wood for the last 8 hours. I ain't chopping no more. So, and the guy looked at me like he didn't know exactly what I was saying, but I was like, dude, I've been working a long time.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's actually another good point to bring up. I encourage everybody, if you play poker consistently, as Repot flops middle set here, track your results because it gives you a better guide. It also helps if you have a bad day. Your hourly rate may have just gone down a little bit, so it helps in many ways. But yeah, in some of those smaller buy-in tournaments, sometimes I'll look back and I'm like, if I'd just played 1-2 for 10 hours, I would have made more money than second place.
Yeah, that's a frequent cash game player comment is like, dude, I made $800 in 45 minutes last night. You want me to come in third in your tournament for $800 and it's going to cost me 5 or 6 hours? Yes, but your return of investment is so much higher.
And
Not in time, but in amount spent.
And the one thing to add, too, of course, we're experienced players, but the great thing about TCH Social is there's the lower buy-in tournaments, so if you've never played here or you don't play often and maybe you don't want to go sit at a 1-2 table with $500, you just want to buy in for $60, and for one example, you can have a great time, win some good money if you finish high.
Yep.
And your whole risk is $60.
Yeah. The other thing I track, I think you make a really good point about tracking. The other thing that I track is my winning percentage or my cash percentage. So I have a target, which I won't share because it's just mine, but I have a target that I want for the year. I keep track of it by taking pictures of my card that they give you when you cash, 5th, 6th, 3rd, 1st. And I want to see a certain percentage. It also tells me how I'm doing. Now, it's very, very cyclic. I mean, I went through a period there in June and July where I won 7 tournaments in 45 days.
That was an incredible run.
Yeah, and then I've been dead pretty much since then. But, so it's very cyclic. But, yeah, I kind of do that as well because that also tells me about my return of investment in time and cash. If I cash – at a certain percentage point that's my target, then I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
And the good thing about tracking, too, is if your results are not showing the fruition you would like, as we've got trip queens for Todd here, along with, does not have a redraw, just backdoor hearts. If you track it, then you know you need to adjust your game if the results are not what you're looking for, so it kind of helps in multiple ways.
Yeah, I agree.
So the heart redraw actually does show up with the 6 of hearts on the turn.
Did Bieber just call you a nerd? I know he didn't call me a nerd. I think he just called me.
Beeper. Nerd nowadays is sort of a compliment. It's changed over the years. That's how I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you should. Poker nerd is a good thing.
So Todd's going to take that one down.
Yeah, he got the heart draw at the end, so he wasn't worried about much.
It's probably over here.
Yeah, I know. Did you have it last time?
No, 1 and 2.
Oh, okay, yeah. So maybe it's yeah, why would you suggest it right now?
All right, we thank all of you for joining us tonight. We go to hand number 30. Please comment in the chat. We love chatty people.
We support this.
What's your hat?
Yeah.
So a question for you. I mean, give me your primary strategic or strategy difference between playing PLO and playing a PLO bomb pot. What do you think is the biggest difference in how you play a hand?
He's going to lose his hand.
That's a great question. I would say it's massively different. I think you just have to have much more nutted hands in the bomb pots because everybody sees the flop.
Is that just because the pot size can get so big so fast?
You get so big so fast, but I think the one strategy that a lot of newer players miss, and it looks like we're going to have a club draw for Todd here on a 9-high board. Lunchbox flops top set, so I think we're going to see some fireworks here. Oh, and Poker Rhino also with the club draw. The better of the two, queen high. Oh, and middle set for Pharaoh. Everybody here with something.
Yep, Lunchbox got a set, middle set with the 8s. And a backdoor club, or not a backdoor, front door club draw for Pharaoh as well. Callie's got to feel pretty good about this hand. And not just feeling good because he's getting a massage from Alicia. He's got to feel pretty good. Let's see if we get an action card here. I would really hate to see the 8 of clubs come out. Actually, that would be great, Callie. Be harder on Poker Rhino. Really hard on Lunchbox.
Lunchbox ahead here with top set, but as you said, a lot of scary turn cards, and they just get it all in, he and Pharaoh. Lunchbox way ahead, 86% equity.
These are two players that play a lot with each other.
And actually, with card removal of what's been folded, Pharaoh actually only has one out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the 7 of clubs, but
the 8 of clubs was out.
Based on what we've seen, it could happen. Had the 1 hour outer earlier. Pharaoh looking for the 7 of clubs, does not come.
Yep. Wow. A nice clean run out.
Lunchbox wins the biggest pot of the night, almost 1,900.
Cool.
That may put him at the top of the
I think it does. I think it's got to. That was 900, like over $1,000 in profit. I think it's got to. Been very quiet. Hasn't played a ton of hands tonight. Those of us that play with him a lot knows that he is a classic poker nerd, which makes him very difficult to play against, especially in position. I know that I play completely differently with Jeff at the table than anybody else at the table. But there are a couple of players similar to him.
Yeah.
But I know that they're but because we know each other so well, it also makes us kind of manipulative of each other's table image. We know, I know what his table image of me is, or thought is, and I know what my table thoughts or player thoughts about him are.
Yeah, once you have that much history with the hand, it's kind of, so I'm thinking that he's thinking that I'm thinking, and you end up on those
you get too many layers
levels.
deep there, but it's funny. Lunchbox, sorry. Makes my two metaphors there. We got heads up, and I think we played 2 hands. He looked at me and he goes, "What are we doing?" And I'm like, "You're right. What are we doing?" We immediately chopped. We didn't even talk about ICM or anything. We knew that at that level, with the 2 of us playing, this was going to be a ping pong game, and whoever stepped on the cat was going to be the one that lost it.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be anything other than the dealer doing the work. So
you're probably down to sub 20 big blinds each.
Yeah,
it's just
I think it was like 22 and 25. Yeah.
I was a million miles away, though. I was talking to my sister.
I love playing with Jeff. He's a lot of fun. He's the nicest guy at the table always. I've heard he's so nice. I tell him stop being so nice. Some of the newer players, will say some of the most ridiculous things like, "Well, I had the call," and he'll go, "Yeah, of course you did." And I'm thinking, what do you say? That was the worst call in the history of poker. But he's always so nice. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I get it. I totally get it. You have a call." And then he'll look at me like, "Don't say it."
No, you didn't.
Yeah, nicest guy at the table at any table you play at.
So while we get ready and get a few chips added on, we're going to tell you about the Epic Sun Run. $500 every hour. Prizes roll over if there's no winners. This is now 24 hours a day.
Yep.
High hand promo.
For 3 days, 4 days. It'd be Wednesday, starting at 8. No, I guess it's 24 hours. Is that start at midnight? Ends midnight, October 6th. Okay. So it's going to start at 12:01 a.m. on Wednesday and go until 11:59 or 12 o'clock on Sunday.
And I'm excited about the free brunch as well. We have an incredible kitchen here.
Boy.
That's going to be excellent.
I never come up here early, but on the weekend, I'm coming up here. I don't know what they'll have, but yeah, it's worth it. They have a breakfast that I just love. It's the tater tots with the 2 eggs on top. And
Oh,
I
I've
get
seen it.
the
I have
bad
not had
beef
it,
bacon
though.
on top of that. And you can even get gravy on it. Now, I will say this, after you eat it, you will want to go take a nap. Because it is a commitment, to say the least.
And no, he felt bad. You could tell he felt really bad.
Yeah, that was the lovely Alora. Alora, I think is her name.
Believe so.
She did get somebody's order, so somebody's going to get some food, hopefully. That's Alora. There she goes.
Got a chance to chat with her. Very nice
Yeah,
young
very,
lady.
Very pretty young gal. I could say that because I'm the old dude. You can't say that. You could say it.
That's a completely different, unique.
He's not gonna.
I will acknowledge that you're correct.
Yes, well, I'm always correct. I mean, I'm never wrong, right? Yep, 8 to 12 a.m. is the free brunch. Not free breakfast. I don't think you can order anything particularly. I think they're going to have probably a buffet-style brunch.
It's an excellent deal given most of the places around here. If you go for brunch in Austin, you're going to spend $30 for scrambled eggs and a slice of avocado, maybe.
Yeah, and a hollandaise sauce out of a bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. As we play a bomb pot, not much out there. I don't see any sets. I see some spade draws. No, I don't see any spade draws.
Yeah, Rhino with good equity on both boards, actually. He's got a bunch of straight draws. And the bottom board pairs with another 4, and Ryan's got a 4.
Ryan's got a 4. It's probably keep him around because there's no straights or flushes on that board. Do we have a 6-9 out there? No. 10-9 open-ended for Rhino. Yeah, he's got a really great wrap on both boards, like you said. And he does have a king. Diamonds. Nobody's got the diamond redraw or the spade. Total bricks on the bottom. Well, I paired board on the top, although not that it matters. Kings. What is it? What is good? Oh, wait a minute. Ryan's got a 7 and a 4.
Yeah, Ryan's
can't bet
scoop.
either one, but he's gonna scoop this. He'll probably go check, check, check.
Let's see if he can get anybody to put a few more dollars in the pot.
If anybody's gonna do it, it's going to be Poker Rhino. He's been the most aggressive. He's in early position here, though, so it makes it a little more difficult. He's trying to make sense out of what can I block all the straights. The diamonds are going to probably keep him from betting on that top board. And Ryan does bet it. Great bet. I mean, he's got just enough. You know, we talk about that a lot in bomb pots. I have just enough to be a little aggressive. And it being in last position, everybody checking to him, which they will never do with the nuts or even a boat. They're never going to do that. So even this group.
Yeah, actually, to finish a thought on your question about bomb pots versus PLO, not necessarily the difference between the two, but just a bomb pot mistake I see is inexperienced players having a one-way hand, so they maybe got the nuts on one board and nothing on the other. Your head's up. You should not value bet that. You should bet full pot and hope for a fold, because otherwise you're just splitting money with the other player. And I see people do that somewhat frequently.
Yeah, and I made a cardinal error in a bomb pot yesterday that I just was talking to myself. And the dealer, Robert, Rock and Roll Robert, even said to me 20 minutes later when he came back to deal to me in the PLO tournament, I can't believe the deuce. And I knew exactly what he said. The boards were so discombobulated on both sides, on both ends. There was at the end a Broadway could have made, but it was down to me and another player. And I knew that if in my mind, he cannot be strong here. So I'm going to bet like I got top set on both boards. You know, whatever. If he's polarized where he's only playing one board, he'll have to fold. I bet 240 pot on the turn. I bet my last 220 at the end, and he called off with with the second set on the bottom board, and all either one of us had on the top board is he had a deuce.
Oh, wow.
Which made the bottom pair on one board. And I'm like, I guess I don't know how to get you to fold. And he goes, oh, I didn't want to call. And I was sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, if this had been a 1-3 or 2-5 table, I absolutely would have gotten that through. I never bluff on bomb pots.
Right.
And I had something, and I had draws on both. I just totally missed. And I thought, well, I'm pot committed, and he's not going to call another 220. Those were complete bricks.
Right.
And he did. And when Robert came back to the table, he goes, I still can't believe that too. And I'm like, I know, brother. He had one board the whole way, and he had a weak board at that.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you just can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes you're also caught in a spot like we talked about. If you don't know the player super well, you just kind of have to go with the average of what you see. But there's certainly players that I have on my list of do not attempt to bluff.
Oh, certainly. Certainly. And I want those players at the table is what we always say.
Oh, right. Yeah, if you know who they are, then, yeah, they're great to have at the table.
Yeah.
As Pharaoh's aces somehow are going to hold up.
We just keep seeing this.
I feel like we've seen aces 20 times, and they've only won about 20% of the pots.
Yeah, that's true. The kings have been much more reliable.
Actually, yeah, that's a great point.
Well, Repot took it, though, with a bet. So they're almost always in the mind of the ace is going to have 2 pair there at the least. In a pretty discombobulated board, as we were talking about it. No straights, no flushes.
I go with the pretty colors.
Yeah, I would say just in terms of, you know, how people are playing, and no offense to any other players, but Repot and Chase, along with Jeff, and I forget he's going by Lunchbox, have seemed to play kind of just the best PLO thus far.
Yeah, probably the best, most well-rounded game. I'd agree. Guapo and Todd, and we've got respect for Chase's game in a short period of time. I think they're all playing very, very high quality. And Ryan, too, playing very high quality PLO. Khaled is always, Pharaoh is always going to play good PLO. So, yeah.
Looks like we have some trouble reading the cards this hand. Maybe they'll load up here in a second. That's fine. It's okay to have a mystery hand every once in a while. I'm trying to figure out
we'll go in the tank.
Who has what?
With everybody but Todd. No. Jacks for Ryan. Well, that one mystery card for Ryan before happened to make him have the second nut boat. So maybe these will be really interesting cards as he leads out for 15. Todd actually led out for 15.
Ryan was on the wrong end of the worst cooler of the night, I believe.
Yeah, he was.
Set of queens.
I don't know that was a cooler. Yeah, and the suck out being the quad nines.
The quad nines on the river
was the suck
out was definitely the best hit. So we got several players with a queen high board here and a set of 4s for Todd.
Oh my God, I'm good.
Another queen, so a boat now. Oh, and Lunchbox has the better boat with queen 4.
Yeah.
This could be tough for Todd.
Yeah. Todd is a pretty tight player, so he's probably going to be able to make the fold if he gets potted. No? What? Well, I don't know. We may have had some
misreads there.
Yeah, we may have. I can't imagine Todd went down that easy.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to clear the board. Carolyn's going to reshuffle. Kristen's going to hit the reset button. And hand 34, the Herschel Walker hand will be much cleaner.
Wow, V-pips. Poker Rhino V-pipping 87%. Iceman down there at 19. We've got a pretty wide. I don't know if I've ever seen a range quite that wide, 19 to 87.
Yep. Yeah, Iceman has not played a lot of hands since he joined late. He's only got 30. What has he got? 30 hands in. So not that he came in not too late.
A little late. Yeah.
Very, very good hold'em player.
Yeah, he is.
Even for a Canadian.
Yeah, you're not going to see him make a lot of mistakes.
No, if you do not see him make mistakes at all. And also, one of the nicest guys at the table every time.
It's not like a
Repot, raise 15, and we get 4 callers. 5 to the flop.
Ace high board, Lunchbox with an ace, along with Repot, and a set of 10s there for Guapo. Middle set.
We don't have very good athletics. But,
No flush draw, rainbow flop.
No betting on that flop. So the pot is small. Guapo's got to like it. He's in earlier position in the big blind, so he's going to fire out this time for sure. Aces would have always bet.
Yeah, a little surprised that he didn't bet the flop there.
Yeah, he's in early position, and he's a pretty conservative player. He doesn't get any information by aces just calling him, so he is getting. Is that poker Rhino going heavy at 105? He does have the nuts right now.
Yeah, Rhino also with a combo straight draw. Basically.
Notice that Guapo and Rhino have the exact same amount of equity. Now it'll change when Lunchbox gets out of the hand. Now you can see the poker Rhino has got the edge, but they're pretty close as a complete brick on the board, which just makes Rhino's straight all the bigger.
Yeah,
all
Rhino
the bigger.
Is
that some bad English? All the bigger.
All the bigger,
all the greater.
Texas, it makes sense.
Yeah, I started to say everybody in Texas knew what I said.
Hey, everybody knew what you meant.
Tailgate said we never went in.
So Rhino's going to win this one. Guapo.
He was all in for 134. That's what I was seeing.
I got so lucky there, and I should have
A little unfortunate for Rhino not to get paid off there.
I had an ace. I was just had an ace.
But good fold from Guapo. By the way, I love the guts of going by Guapo. That's a bold statement.
What does that mean?
Handsome.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he was grandpa or something. That's how bad my Spanish is. Guapo is handsome.
Yeah. If you ever have a señorita call you muy guapo, that's a very good thing, Tom.
I think I've got muy crapo, but I don't think I've ever had muy guapo.
We still go to Ken Black's barbecue there twice a month. It's the best barbecue I think I've ever had.
Give me 3 orders of the ancho honey shrimp. Wow, that sounds really good, right?
You had the deviled eggs yet?
I have. I actually my buddy Will, ordered some, and he made me eat one.
Quite good.
I told him I typically didn't eat deviled eggs, especially that late at night, because it scares the cats at about 2 or 3 in the morning. We'll leave that one alone. But they were great. They're really, really good.
They're like the perfect poker snack for me. You know, if I don't need anything heavy.
Yeah, and it's good protein,
no
no
fat. Get a little something in me.
And no bad fat, I should say. So it's, why'd you look at me that way? There's no fat. Well, there's fat in eggs, but there's no bad fat. So.
Yeah, no, it's a good, healthy snack.
Yeah. And as we were talking to the lovely Elora, who doesn't do carbs at all, we found out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we found out she's a very healthy individual.
Yeah, very, very healthy. There's nothing more sickening than health or healthy people. But she was telling us she didn't do carbohydrates as I was chowing down on my soda and fries and chicken sandwich. And notice it didn't really deter me at all. So.
I laugh because I'm not shocked.
But yeah, that's a perfect snack for her.
It was impressive, Uncle T. We had minutes until the stream, and
I inhaled that thing. Yeah, it was like if you've ever watched Shark Week, it reminded me of that. There's a lot of flying pieces.
So we got Todd just here with 2 pair, top 2 that is.
And bottom 2 pair for Ryan. Otherwise, not much, but a diamond draw for Lunchbox. So everybody's got, obviously the equity is a little out of kilter for Todd because he's got top 2. As Lunchbox does put it down, he's going to bet it. He must have a sense that he's strongest. No sets.
I don't know what Ryan is really considering here. I think this is a pretty easy fold.
Yeah. Well, the one thing, Ryan may not have played with Todd as much as we have. And I can tell you from playing with Todd a lot, he is never bluffing here. Matter of fact, he's at the bottom of his range.
Yeah, 6-3 is no good.
I mean, Queen Jack is the bottom of Todd's range. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's got King 10 with a, maybe he's got Jack, King 10.
Yeah.
That, you know, I mean, I'm thinking those kind of things.
The other thing that's funny is Ryan did there something that you always know is an incoming fold is the real deep breath.
Yeah.
Nobody ever takes that big deep breath and calls.
Yeah.
Or raises.
Yeah, actually, you know, that deep breath with the kind of the sleepy-eyed look, you know, and the slumped shoulders. Gosh, that reminds me of my wedding day. All those good seeds rolled together. I may or may not have done that right before I walked in front of the church.
Unfortunately, too many of us have been there.
Yeah, yeah.
Reaper likes that people can't bring their own, and I'm going to add a word here, smelly food.
Oh my gosh. I
would
all right,
agree
Beaver.
with this.
So we had our top 10 list a few weeks ago of things that people do at the table that you hate. Number one was consensus was hygiene, but that and smelly food was one of them.
Yeah.
Smelly breath following smelly food. I totally agree. So, dude, if you get Brussels sprouts and have them brought in where they've been sitting in an Uber Eats car to boot, and they should be outlawed. If you get them in a restaurant, fine. People deal with it. But you come into a card house with those grilled or whatever Brussels sprouts, you should be shot.
Yeah, I think wouldn't the ultimate be somebody grabs a Tupperware out and it's got tuna fish and Brussels sprouts in it?
Oh my gosh. So we have a player that likes to bring his own food and optimize. And I always tell him, I said, dude, the only thing I can tell you that's more offensive than you bringing whatever dietary concoction you've made up is if you brought in something really, really stinky to boot. That's when I'm glad I'm in the booth. But yeah, I think that is a good thing about it. There is no stinky food coming out of our kitchen.
Yeah, very pleasant smelling food. Guapo's got top set here.
Yeah, they're the queens again.
And nut flush draw for Iceman.
Ooh, this may get spicy. But it doesn't, because now the nuts are made by Guapo. Iceman has not had a chance to break into his happy dance very much.
Yeah, quick fold from Iceman. Beaver had somebody eating the worst smelling tuna fish
bowl, like what was it, like tuna fish and rice? I had a buddy when I worked up north that was very much into healthy eating, and he would used to make tuna fish and brown rice. And the microwave would stink for like 2 days afterwards. He ate it almost every day.
Unfortunately, that is a really healthy meal in general, but yeah, pretty terrible on the
But people have to live with you, so they don't want you to live longer when you're that stinky. You know what I mean?
So Lunchbox still in the lead here after that massive pot, up 840. Pharaoh now actually throwing the party.
Yeah, not much in the way of. I mean, I kind of like Pharaoh's hand, and Pucker Rhino kind of effectively blocks a lot, and Pharaoh blocks what he has pretty well.
Yeah, I would agree. Of all these hands, I'd probably want Pharaoh's.
Yeah, it's got the most equity on the board, but that's mainly because of the eights, which are the top pair right now. It's really got more value than I love those middle wraps. Keeney and I were talking about that last night, how much value there is in those big middle wraps. And, of course, he hits his jack.
Huge flop here. I believe it's Todd.
Yeah.
Has flopped
the nuts.
A boat.
The joint. He immediately looks at...
happily check.
Yes. Yeah, that's as happy as you'll ever see him. And he was making a joke with that he's not the most effusive guy at the table. But he's in his happy place now.
Pharaoh actually no, he did not pick up better straight draw, but
No, he's got the straight flush draw. Pharaoh does. He can hit a king of spades. Don't know if that'll keep him in the hand. 65 to call. Yeah, I'd want to see a card.
yeah, just very scary chasing straights and flushes on a paired board, but especially.
Well, it's showing 0% equity, so the king of spades must have been folded.
Yeah, exactly. And I just go, oh, it every. Yeah, exactly.
Todd's going to win a nice spot.
Yep.
That reaction with the laughing check is one of my favorite moments so far.
Yeah, the laughing check. Yeah, from a non-laughing checker for the most part.
Yeah, that way.
I will say occasionally, if I flop huge, I'll do everything I can to look as disinterested as I can. But, you know, some people overdo it at times.
You know, I sometimes like to do the opposite. I did this to a guy a couple of weeks ago where like, holy crap, is that my board? and he just, it's a guy I know really well, and he just looked at me like, whatever. He did fold on the turn, though, because the board got even more wet. Once again, we have aces, this time unsuited, which a lot of times they have been. And we've got them against kings and queens.
Wow.
Unlike a no-limit hand where you think when you see aces versus kings versus queens, it's all getting in. This is not necessarily the case. We got nines, we got sevens, we got a smattering. The kings and the queens are unlikely to come in because we have those in another hand. And we hit the set of nines. Correct.
Monotone board and
Todd
Rhino
hits the
straight.
Todd hits
excuse me, a flush.
Yeah, we've got this. Got the top set for Todd.
Ooh.
The flush, but it was a bad flush for Rhino.
And Ryan blocks the nut flush. Doesn't have much else going on, though.
He's going to call because it's just PLO and it's too small a bet. He could hit an ace here and make everybody miserable. Although Rhino cannot know he's good.
Yeah,
the spades do keep him from betting, Todd. That is.
I can't love the 7-high flush, but
no. If anybody's going to love that hand, though, Rhino is. Especially since nobody bet this. He's like, really? Maybe I could rep a higher flush.
Todd just praying for a board pair. And Ryan here with the overpair of aces, of course, and he blocks the nut flush, so he's going to raise and represent the nut flush. This might work. Although
yeah, considering what their hands are, he does know this, but he doesn't even have to rep the nut flush. He can be repping a queen or jack high flush. I would be sitting here thinking, wow, he gets bet into. No, I just called.
Yeah,
by
Todd,
both players. Okay.
He's got to come along and pray for the board to pair, and I understand why, but he's going to feel pretty vulnerable if that does not happen and he gets bet into again.
And amazingly enough, Poker Rhino with the least amount of reasons to call is ahead. And now the nines make good.
Todd gets there.
Todd gets there. He's not going to be very aggressive with this. He's out of position in the big blind. He's also could be facing Jack 9 very easily. Jack 8 is more likely, of course.
Bad flush, set of eights, I check. Bad flush.
I think Ryan just called out the exact hands. Wow.
Yeah, that's a pretty hilarious. Ryan said, "You check, he checks, I'm gonna check." Like,
and then he called it. You have a set of nines.
Yes. Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Did he say you have a flush to Rhino?
I couldn't quite make it out, but I think he might have.
Yeah, I think he did too.
Yeah.
You know, there are times the players say at the table, we talk about this. I knew what you had, and I always want to say, yeah, if you would, if you knew what I had, you'd be clairvoyant. You'd be a better poker player if you were clairvoyant. But I think in that case, Ryan knew exactly where he was. Sorry if we have a little too much background noise. I don't know how much y'all can pick up on these microphones, though. I mean, we basically have to put them up against our uvulas to get the sound right. So,
yeah. Now, it should hopefully cut that out, but sounds like a very exciting room out there.
Yes, it has
picked
picked up.
Playing.
It has picked up. We've done. I've been so proud of TCH Social. We've just been complimented by especially players that, like yesterday, a man that was in who never plays here, and he just, the one that said, "Oh my gosh, it's huge back there," when he got past the bar. So many compliments on this facility, and it's obviously a place where people enjoy coming. The staff at TCH Social, I just can't compliment them enough. Having played at so many different card houses, the professionalism, the positivity, the service, the dealer quality, the floor quality, the front desk quality. I just am stunned at how right they've gotten this place.
It's so excellent, and I mean the service also, I think, is enhanced based on the experience of the folks. We have so many experienced people that I've played at TCH for about 3.5 years now, and a lot of the staff is the same staff when I started. So
yes,
a lot of experience. Folks know what they're doing, and great environment.
Yeah, it's just and we're homers, so you don't have to believe us. I dare you to come in if you haven't been here and tell us differently. It's just there's so much effort and time was put into getting this place, the lighting, the aesthetics, even the basquets on the wall. No, it is not. It's more likely a biscuit than a basquet, but yeah, all of it, the way it looks, the uniforms and everything, they did such a fantastic job.
Yeah.
What a surprise! Repot has aces.
Yeah, and we got a wheel for Repot as well.
Which is fortunate because there were no aces left. Chase had the other, and I think Ryan had one.
Chase has a gutter and a nut flush draw.
Yep, he can hit the 6.
He's actually ahead in equity, even though he doesn't have the best hand at the moment.
Yeah. That will actually probably slow down the wheel.
Yeah, both players hate that card. Board pairs. One with the straight and the other with a draw.
And we didn't see the last card dealt. Apologize for that. So we don't know exactly. It was a 9, totally inconsequential card.
So the wheel's going to win for
Yeah,
Repot?
the wheel won, although the action was shut down, like you said, by that 5.
Yeah, I always find it kind of funny calling the stream because you think about how many times when you're playing and you think the card's bad for you and it's actually bad for your opponent too.
Yeah.
You both. But you see it so often here, and you're just getting in the head of the player and thinking they both just despise that card.
Yeah. You all the time look at the other player when you have that and said, I thought I hated that card. You hated that card even worse.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have a laugh after the hand about
how much
both
do we
hating
hate
the
that?
turn card or the
yeah.
river.
Yeah. As we go on to hand number 40, the Will Bates hand, since we get another big pair for Lunchbox. No suits in it, though. He's got a complete Badoogie with queens.
8 call, 9 fold, 1 call, 2 call.
Chase has got 3 clubs. Nice spread.
3 clubs for Repot as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess we don't make a club flush here.
If we do, it's going to be fun.
Todd with a pretty suspect hand, but only has to call 5.
Looks like somebody got the Uncle T sandwich.
The 10-8.
No, the fried chicken sandwich.
Oh.
The 10-8.
I thought you said the hand. You said the sandwich.
I said the sandwich, yeah.
You know, you ever go to restaurants and it's like Josie's quesadilla or something like that?
Yeah.
I think they are going to need to name the chicken sandwich the Uncle T.
I agree. I think that we should lobby for that. I think Chef Justin might poke me in the eye if I say that.
King
Unless I'm run over by a bus or something and y'all put my picture in the corner, you know, like Uncle Melvin that got hit by the train.
In memory of Uncle T that
yes.
enjoyed this chicken sandwich.
Who choked to death on a chicken sandwich. By the way, they're $8 this week because in memory of Uncle T, who was hit by a train while eating a chicken sandwich this week 2 years ago.
$2 per sandwich goes to benefit his estate.
You know, yes, exactly. Double his inheritance to his kids. You know, my dad used to make that joke in East Texas. Everybody has a drunk uncle that got hit by a train.
Yeah.
You know, that's a country and western song. So, all right, folks, we have deviated from the program. Right now, Lottie's mad at us. We're just so far off the poker norm.
Pretty excited to turn around.
As we show the RFI, that's our raised first in. It's kind of an interesting statistic, probably the one I pay least attention to.
So, as previously mentioned, we have a plethora of tournaments, and we have a great one, especially if you want to get your feet wet. $20 buy-in on Mondays, every Monday at 7 p.m. $3,000 guaranteed, so significant money ends up in the prize pool that you can win after a few hours of play. It's always a fun one. Uncle T and I have played it many, many times.
And that is probably the tournament I play worst. We didn't ever used to get to play in it because a lot of times we do commentary on Monday night. Now we get to play in it, and I realize that this is why I don't do free rolls sometimes. It's like, it's difficult. It's just really difficult.
Yeah.
Probably the hardest tournament, I'd say that and the Sunday $300 buy-in Black Chip Bounty are the two most difficult tournaments.
I feel like it's very binary. I'm curious if you'd agree, but if you get hit in the face with the deck, you can win it really easily. But
otherwise, it
definitely
is not
requires
easy.
running well.
Yes, it does.
At
At some point, running real well, hopefully later. As we get aces again from
Keys to run good late.
Aces versus queens, both having diamonds. Todd's got kind of a middling hand, repot. Did the queens fold again? I'm wondering if we're having some difficulty with the card reader because that's last time Lunchbox folded queens and I couldn't believe he did it. And this time it said that I think that Todd or repot folded queens. So maybe we're having a little bit of a difficulty with the card reading.
I might have paid you off.
Yeah, I think the folded full house earlier may have been a mystery. But
oh, yeah, I definitely think that
I think
was.
for the most part.
I don't think Todd ever folds for that bet on that hand. As we expected, the pre-flop raise aggression indicator, pre-flop raising. That's hard for me to say, pre-flop raise. As we'd expect, Worldwide, Repot, and Perker Rhino are the most aggressive players. We could have told you that without looking at the stats.
A couple of jacks here for Todd, along with 9-10 suited. Pretty good starting hand for Pot Limit Omaha. Go multi-way to a 10-high flop, all diamonds. See if anybody has diamonds here, and that's going to be Guapo. He's got the second nut flush with his king 9. Checks around. 3 of spades on the turn is not going to change anything. So Guapo appears is going to bet 25, and nobody else with much. I believe this is going to fold around, and Guapo's going to win a small pot, flopping his flush.
Don't worry, I didn't. Because ace 2-3 is not a hand you want to play.
See the stack sizes at the bottom. Lunchbox still ahead. Repot right behind him, up 750. Poker Ryan and Faro down about the same amount. We're about halfway done here. We'll be with you until 10 o'clock Central Time. Looks like we'll get in a little over 80 hands. So
Well, yeah, I always stop on the way to the gym here.
always time for the folks at the bottom of the leaderboard. We've seen people go worst to first many times.
Your personal
And the
trainer.
workouts are.
The workout. All I do is get squats in. I look up.
Nine race.
I'm gonna switch to lifetime now because I'm no longer going to find
Got a couple mystery cards here for Poker Rhino, so we won't have the equities. Looks like that's corrected now, so we've got all of Rhino's cards scanned in. 8 high flop, rainbow. Appears the overpair for Rhino is still going to be good here with his jacks. Can't feel great about it though. He'll bet out and try to thin the field. Ryan's going to come along with his overpair and straight draw. Backdoor flush possibility as well. Building a pot here. Ryan and Rhino heads up. And Ryan's going to drill his straight on the turn. 9-6. Going to be good here. Ooh, and Rhino all in, drawing dead.
I'm a Bears fan, so I'm just I want him to stay with us, but he's not having a good
So Ryan's going to win a nice spot here. $280 going Rhino's, or excuse me, Ryan's way. Looks like that's going to be it for Rhino. Just wasn't his night, and Guapo will assume the 4 seat. 4 seat for some reason being my favorite.
I didn't think the Saints were going to whoop them the way they did that.
Oh my God.
Saints had the game. They had no time for the run. And then
That handle put Ryan up 329. Not bad for a little over a couple hours of work.
Well, I have a new dealer here anyway, so it should, the button should be out there. He's got a post after that.
All right, high hand from now on. Hey, guys.
Button is on 6. Hands are smooth. It's supposed to be against the wall. I don't know what else.
It's okay. Jonathan,
Gonna have a dealer change. Take a short break here.
No, we haven't had any dealer change anything.
Atypical Blackjack says this looks like a nice poker room. Very much appreciate that. We love it. And indeed, it is quite nice. It's very impressive when you walk in. Very comfortable environment to play some cards. As we mentioned, very professional, experienced staff.
Once an hour, yeah.
Great food.
It was supposed to start at midnight. It started at 8.
I will say the food is so good. Even if you weren't going to play poker, it'd be worth stopping in just to have some food and hang out.
9. So yeah, anything within the next hour, you get a ticket, you're part of the draw.
Never got sick before. I caught the cold and threw it back. Get out of here.
Cards in the air, hand 44. This will be a bomb pot. Got a couple of spades on the top board, a couple of clubs on the bottom. Chase has queen high clubs.
Five shows, 6 bets, 15. Long calls.
And nut spades for Ryan on the top board, along with an overpair of nines.
Three calls. 4, 5, fold.
Everybody with some equity here. This will be some pretty interesting turn cards. And neither flush draw gets there, but now
One checks, 2 checks.
spades come in on the bottom board as well. So Ryan has a chance of making the nuts on both boards. And he's going to bet.
You're all in, right? I got nuts on the bottom and then nut flush on top. Or a 6.
Ryan actually with the nut straight on the bottom. Nails the flush, but he will chop with Pharaoh. Pharaoh pretty lucky there to get the chop.
I was always going to push it to something. I think he was going there. Well, the bluffs, Brian, you wouldn't go anywhere on the bluff, right? I mean, you kind of like got chunk this.
I mean, honestly, there's already one 7 out there. On the bottom, I got like 3 outs, running spades, and some bullshit.
Hank? Hank is first one? Okay, okay. Thank.
Atypical in chat asks, I'm relatively new to poker. Does the table have sensors that allow you guys to know what cards the players have? And yes, that is correct. It's called RFID, radio frequency ID. So the players have a little spot on the table to scan their cards over. There's a special deck that communicates with the table. That goes to our producer in the booth next to us,
Kristen, tonight.
And the chip sizes, or excuse me, the bet sizing is called out by the dealer. That's why they're wearing a headset. So they're kind of doing a double job. So we really appreciate the skill they do to be able to deal the game.
It's a hard 2 hours.
Yep. But generally the players are a little more generous on stream, being well aware of that.
You're giving them so much credit. Yeah, I always very defensive of the dealers anyway because I know how hard that job is. But they've got somebody talking in their ear. They're getting less hands in per hour, which generally means lower amounts of money. And that, although this game is not particularly bigger, the game is bigger, but the tipping is not proportional, I would say, with the size of the hands. I honestly, I say the 1-2 tippers are the best tippers of any level by far.
Yeah.
If you do like the pot to tip ratio, I think we just invented something new, PTR, pot to tip ratio.
Yeah.
6 bets, 15.
The dealers would like for that to be a measure.
Yeah, I guarantee they would. I may or may not have been known to inappropriately shame players on big pots that tip poorly. Is Queen Jack has got the best hand right now, but it's a little difficult.
Actually,
with
Todd has the better flush here.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. King 5.
Yeah.
But we got trips for Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan in a bit of a bad spot here.
Actually, Todd, though, is probably the one and he does fold. Just because it's with a paired board, it's difficult.
Ryan's done that multiple times with well-timed larger bets.
Yeah, well, he's got the third nut diamonds and a 2. So he's got to feel pretty good at that point. Yeah, you see this beautiful felt atypical on that. They went through a lot of as we get a new player sitting in the seat 7. They brought 3 or 4. The COO Victor brought 3 or 4 felts in to the table to look at, and we got to give some input. And I by far think they just nailed this felt. And underneath the felt, you'll see those circles right over Todd's. The seat 2 player, you can see right in front of his chips a little circle. That's where the sensor is underneath there. So they want you to hover your cards over that just a little bit. But it's very quick, having played the live stream, how quick it is to sense the cards. We used to have monitors where we could see their cards had been sensed. Now, with the technology improving and the software improving, you don't even have to worry about that anymore. We don't get a lot of misfills. And if they do, then Kristen tells the dealer, hey, C3, scan your cards again. So it's really nice, and it does not slow down the game at all.
Occasionally we'll get a note come in saying what the correct cards were in the case of a misread, but I think usually that's player dependent. Table is quite reliable.
Yeah, very much so. A great table to play at, very comfortable, beautiful to look at. The only thing I'd say that's a little goofy, we saw this with a hand a couple weeks ago, is those gray cards are a little bit invisible on that gray span around the edges. So from our vantage point, sometimes you can kind of see whether somebody has a hand or not.
I don't care how good I play for 2 hours, 5 hours. What's it gonna do? I'll throw it all out the window and I'll start gambling. For sure. No matter what.
But that's pretty minor. Pretty minor.
So as you said, we have a new player in seat 7. He's going by Mad Scientist.
Okay.
So this will be interesting. I got to say, I kind of like the name. I have high expectations from Mad Scientists, right?
You know, one of the most fun things about the middle part of my career is that I was a scientist. That was actually my job title. Scientist 1, 2, 3, or 4 at a pharmaceutical company. So people say, what do you do for a living? I'm a scientist.
That's a good one to drop on somebody.
Yeah. It ends intellectual arguments, even though you're no smarter than the PhD you work for.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hey, Aaron, you fold? Yeah. You folded?
So who did we lose in that seat?
We had Ryan leave us. Guapo bumped over. So that allowed Mad Scientist to join the 7th seat.
Oh, Rhino left us? Yeah, Guapo was very quiet in that seat. I forgot for a minute he was even sitting there. He didn't have a lot of hands to play tonight.
7 bet 75 or it's going to be 65.
Mad Scientist being new to the table probably didn't scan that 4th card quite enough. So we're going to be in the tank with him a little bit here. And he does win his first spot. So it must have been an ace.
Always good to win the first one.
And everybody's had aces tonight, so why not him?
Yeah, we've had aces seemingly every other hand.
We are 2.5 hours into our I always want to say broadcast, our live stream tonight. And we're working on hand number 47. So we're on basically in the area of 85 to 88 hands tonight.
I feel like when you call it a broadcast, it's you're like Walter Cronkite. You know,
that's the way it is tonight, October 2nd, 2024. I still remember.
Have you done that impression before, or
no,
is that new?
No, that was right out of everybody that does Walter Cronkite. Hey, that's such an ancient person. Most of y'all, used to call him Uncle Walt because he was everybody's uncle, which is kind of mine. What do you call me? What do you call me?
Uncle T.
Or America's.
Oh, America's favorite uncle.
Come on, man. That's your tagline for me. He was America's favorite uncle.
In the opening.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I was struck in her.
I'll do better next time.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I am Uncle T. I was named that by my nephews because my first name is Tom and nobody wants to be an Uncle Tom. So that was always their joke with me. You're Uncle T or Unclet.
Unclet.
And you
I
were
haven't heard that one before.
Unclet, yeah. My nephew who just turned 40. That's so painful for me. My sister's so much older than me. But he just turned 40, and when I called him, he's a golf pro up in Seattle, Washington. Beautiful course up there. And I called him for his birthday, and he said, "Uncle it." That's how he answered my call. So, and you are the Whammo.
The Whammo. Yep.
Because of your last name, Kyle Frisbee. If you don't know, Whammo was the company that made the Slinky and the Frisbee and the Wheelo.
Yep.
Did they make Twister? I want to say they make Twister
that
too.
sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had all those 1970s games that were so popular in toys. I want to say they also made the little bobbing head bird that you put in the dip its beak in the water. It was like.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's a little bird that had the cooling of the water in
Yep.
its beak would make it dip its head. And yeah, there's some people on here right now that are like, what?
What are you talking? Everybody under probably 30 has no idea what we're talking about?
No, it's probably true. Under
Might even
50.
be older than that.
Yeah, you're old for your age. I'm young. I make up for my age with my immaturity.
I've never been told that. That's good, though.
As Pharaoh gets the joint.
Hey, he's going to win a nice pot here.
Yeah.
Get him
Please tell me you
out
are
of the
married to a Karen. I was.
Good call, Beaver.
No, she was a Karen, but she wasn't named Karen.
I got you.
She was an Alice that acted like a Karen.
Man.
Alice with a Y. Alice from Dallas.
If I need to find a Karen, I just have to go to my neighborhood Facebook page, and
They're
all over there.
Do you have that? There's an app.
Nextdoor?
Yes. Oh, the
Yeah.
Nextdoor app. I got so tired of people arguing about what a cicada was or whose cat was missing.
Or my favorite is somebody it's like, oh, I found this snake in my yard.
Yes.
And it's like you could just Google what snake this is, but then you have 45 experts tell them what kind of snake it is.
Yeah.
That's a common.
Yeah. That's how the cicada argument was. We had some brainiac do some Googling and then pass him off as a PhD, and I'm like,
The other thing is there's a white sedan that was driving too fast down such and such lane. It's like, okay, well, what do you want us to do about it? Car's gone now.
Yeah. Did you get the license plate? No,
Yeah.
it was moving too fast. Okay, well, that's useless information. It was the worst during COVID. The worst.
Everybody was so bored.
There is a man walking his dog, and the dog does not have on a mask. I'm joking. That was never said. Kings for Iceman.
Guapo with a pretty good starting hand. Ace, king, suited ace.
I kind of like the Jack 977. I'm going to call that one as the winner. Well, that was a dud.
Ace high flop, rainbow.
Nice wrap for Iceman to the Broadway. Pretty much hit any Broadway card.
Yeah, Guapo ahead right now with top and bottom pair.
Yep.
Would love for there to be a heart out there so he has the backdoor flush, but not the case.
Yeah, there's really no flush draws, just the queen two. You can make that. I guess Lunchbox has both backdoors, but knowing Jeff, he's not playing backdoors.
Yeah, Jeff, leader in the clubhouse in terms of profit. He's played really well.
Yeah, he always plays well. There's a reason he's got that little coin. You see his card cover there. Hand protector. That is a coin that they give you for winning a tournament. Jeff has mini. He doesn't have as many as I do, though. That's a little bit of a sticking point with a couple of the players who has the most coins. So they started giving those out in June. Love to get those things.
I was about to say, how come I don't have a coin? Because
this is the hand 48.
I think the last tournament I won was a little before June, but actually a PLO tournament.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Can't wait to watch that bluff on the stream.
That in fact I can give you some credit for. We were playing cash, and you said you were going to go play the tournament, and you were like, "Yeah, you should come." And I was,
Oh, did
okay,
I talk
I'll
you
go
into
hop
it?
in?
Usually that's a
Ended up
kiss
winning.
of death when I talk somebody into playing the tournament. They're usually cussing me about 30 minutes later. But yeah, I took that one down. I do remember that now that you mention it. this is actually a pretty big pot for being a complex board that nobody had a 10 on. As we go to hand 49.
Be with you another hour and a half, folks. Looks like we'll probably have about 30, 35 more hands.
And we do ask that you'd hit the like button. We always try to get to 150 likes. Appreciate if you hit that like button, and those of you in the chat, we'd love to hear commentary from you. I'll go ahead and ask, because I ask and Hold'em, what is your favorite PLO hand? It's funny. Everybody has like 3 or 4 favorite non-premium, as Pharaoh gets the aces, non-premium Hold'em hands. But do you have a favorite PLO hand? I asked you that before.
I'm going to have to noodle on that one. But it can't be ace, ace, king, king, double suited.
Yeah, well, again, that's what I always get net answers from net players about on the live stream Hold'em tables. What's your favorite non-premium hand? They'll say Jack 10 suited. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, that's the fringe one that everybody. My answer for Hold'em is 9-7 suited, but
yeah. And mine is obviously the 8-10 suited, which would be great on this board. My 8-10 of hearts. No heart draws for anybody.
Yeah, no heart.
A lot of
red
diamonds
cards,
out
no
there.
hearts.
But Jack 10 is the nuts for Chase right now. That's why he's got so much of the equity. But he's going to be led into by Mad Scientist. He bets big, 150. Chase is pondering what he does to make the most amount of money here, and it's probably by potting it. He can come over the top of it. He'll get Khaled out of the hand pretty quick with his just naked aces there.
I can't tell you how many times that came.
Yeah, Chase, I mean, huge hand here.
Doing a little inventory to see what he wants to bet.
Pretty difficult to have 95% equity on the flop in PLO. So he is going to make a statement here with a raise to 750.
It's like, enter at your own risk. I want the heart draws out of there. I want the sets out of there. Of course, we know that nobody has either. Really, Khaled can only hit the jack to make a better hand. Mad Scientist cannot hit anything to make a better hand. He's drawing to 1%. You basically have to have running eights. Although we've seen.
Yeah, running quad eights. I tell you what, based on earlier, it's possible, but drawing very thin. Pharaoh really mulling this over.
Yeah, Khaled will fold here. I'm sorry, Pharaoh will fold here, and Chase will as well. I'm sorry, Mad Scientist as well.
Joined us, and yeah, he lets it go.
Yeah, that's, making a pot-sized bet there is the only thing you could do to get the heart draws out of there.
Yeah, another nice play by Chase. I've just been really impressed with how he's played.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm probably the best player tonight. We've certainly seen Lunchbox make some good plays and play the poker that we know that he knows how to play. But Chase is a very, very good player.
Yeah.
He's not really made any mistakes, and he seems to have got optimal return on his hands. So, yeah, very impressed with him. We'll have to say something nice to him when we go out there.
For sure. And, the other thing, too, is it's extra impressive when we can see the cards and you feel like somebody has made no mistakes.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to be a poker expert when you can see what everybody has, but it's a lot more difficult out there.
I went and saw the comedian Ron White in Vegas once, and he was talking about, since he was in Vegas, about poker, and he goes, the first thing I did is sit on the poker table and like, wait a minute, where's the TV that shows me what everybody's got? He kind of makes that joke. But we are spoiled. It helps us because we kind of transfer what we see and seeing a lot of hands into our hands. And, we talk about representing ranges and Hold'em a lot. Okay, well, that is more likely my range than their range, so I'm going to bet it even though I missed. But in PLO, that's not quite the same. it's much more of a situation where you can make a mistake.
Yeah.
It's so much more straightforward, and the variance is so much greater. It's very easy to have set over set, or you know, and it does not pay aggression well.
Yeah, to me, a great example too is something like top set on the flop, which is the nuts.
Yeah.
And somebody has some combo redraw, and you're basically coin flipping.
Yes.
Which in Hold'em, if you flop top set, you're never coin flipping.
Yeah, never. You're usually in the high 80s to 90s of equity.
Got a few mystery cards here.
Yeah, we do. Mad Scientist is raised to 125, which would indicate that he's got better than just the clubs.
I bet there's another ace under there.
Well, why not? We've had him every other hand.
Glad to have Mad Scientist, though. He's given action after just joining. And he's going to give some more action here.
Not much for repot at all. He's going to snap fold this.
Yeah.
We will never know, but he liked him so much he looked at him again.
Yeah, the second look is usually a pretty strong. He has a 4. He maybe flopped a straight with
the club.
Yeah, it's backdoor.
Well,
clubs.
he does have backdoor clubs, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he had 4-3 there as his danglers. Maybe even 4-8. All right, we're on to hand 51. Thank you all again. Please hit the like button. Appreciate all of those people that are in the chat. Give me something. You know, we discovered this really cool little thing where we could double click on your comment and it will roll across the screen. So you say something funny. We did have a funny comment earlier that I couldn't put up there. I think Atypical made it. But if you say something funny or you ask a really good question, we will put your comment from the chat up on the screen. It will roll across in the bottom, and you will be remembered throughout history.
Oh my God! Wow. What do you want? Oh, talking.
One time. All of it. Let's go. Not good. No more action.
No good for you or me?
Not good for you.
Okay.
Oh my God.
You're
I
losing.
think spades. Oh, jacks. 2 jacks.
Oh, well.
You have jacks? Sure. I have backdoor.
That's not good.
Full round. Straight.
All right. Wow. Small technical glitch there. I apologize.
I told you it's not good, man.
My partner, don't tell him he did this, but he hit the button or the mouse with his headset, and I lost you for a second. So I apologize. As we wake up to aces, but jacks are going to be Jack is going to be the card. Unfortunately, he's facing the 9-8 trade. So Mad Science is going to take this hand down. Another win for him. He's had a few good wins to start off with.
That was, I think, the best for you.
But once again, put a comment, put something funny. Let me ask you a question. True or false? Do you agree aces are just a drawing hand in PLO? Say something cute. Rumor. Runner. I thought that said rumor there for a second. Bieber, I thought you had bad spelling skills there for a second.
Once the turn came, I'm very happy.
Yeah, you got
full round.
Who's our most distant as Ryan wakes up? Queens, King 2 hearts. Up against the nut hearts of Todd, who's got a nice little hand. Ace, Queen, 9-8. I love that hand, to tell you the truth. I'd love to see the queen be the diamond. And, you know, you have like hearts and diamonds. But I like that hand. Mad Scientist with the 9964 stays with us. And the hearts are in play. Don't have this straight yet. We do have an 8, we have a 6, we got queens, we got hearts. Phony. Phony. Yeah, hit that like for the crew. Diamonds now. We got hearts and diamonds. But there are no diamonds out there. Oh, it's 9-8. Yes, Todd's got the hearts and the diamonds. Still don't have a straight. We're missing the jack. Listen, we do have 9s. So we could hit a 7. A black 7 would give Mad Scientist the best hand. He actually has the least amount of equity right now with the queen hitting this top set. And of course, pretty good wrap for Todd, and the hearts and the diamond draws keeps his equity up, and he has a queen. So this is pretty actiony. Pot's up to 500, bet of 175. Ryan's thinking about the call with a set of queens. He may bump it up. Looks like he's going to. Yeah, he's going to raise it up to 175. Oh, that was the bet. Okay, sorry. I thought he grabbed more than one black chip. Matt's thinking about it. Drawing very thin to a 9. Yeah, he has no equity at all. As the ace hits and the diamonds come in for Todd, Todd's not super excited about his diamonds, but he does have 3 overcards. So only the jack and the king of diamonds beat him. And with no betting, he's going to take down a really good $850 pot, which wins him a net of $575. Great hand. It's the biggest hand Todd's had tonight. Good job, Toddley. And that is his joyful face, in case you haven't played with Todd before. The way he looks right now is him in pure and complete ecstasy. He is not a demonstrative player. I love playing with him, though. He's a great poker player. Oh my gosh. That must be a muscle spasm. He smiled real broadly. As we move on to the next hand, Lunchbox is still out front with a net gain of 847. Todd's done really well now that he's won that big pot. Repot is had a good night from a worldwide friend. Chase has made money. The Mad Scientist is coming in with a few hands. Rhino was our big loser. He's not at the game anymore. Pharaoh has had a really rough night. He's probably been put under the test the most, with some unfortunate hands that have gone away from him. Guapo also changed seats because he just was card dead and not getting any flops. But he's a handsome man. That's what I'm told. All right, hand 53. Looks like Mad Scientist still has a little bit of trouble with his sensor, or he's not hovering long enough over the sensor. So we're having a mystery card with him. He has a suit of days. Like we've seen with a lot of hands tonight, and this is very common with PLO, there's all the aces are spread, as a lot of the cards are. The card removal is just obviously bomb pots. It's even greater. And card removal is so extreme in PLO. But that also means all the cards are out in play. No one has a 2 unless Mad Scientist has one. Iceman's going to bet, which is pretty unusual for him. He does have backdoor diamonds and a queen.
I guess he figures he's going to find out if somebody has a deuce or not right now.
Yeah, and backdoor space. Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. It's a kind of a feeler bet. We do that a lot in Hold'em. I'm going to put some money out there to see where you are.
Actually, it appears things have changed. Is the board queen deuce or queen deuce?
It
deuce?
has changed. Okay, so that's a little.
Has a stronger hand than we realized.
Yeah, and he hasn't gotten to play much. Graham's not had a lot of hands to play. You can tell that by the fact he's got a $500 chip out there and not much else. He's just.
10 of spades brings in a flush draw for Iceman along with his strip queens.
Yeah, he's got a ton of this pot.
Mad Scientist
Mad's
is going
moving
all
in.
in.
What does he have? A queen? And he's going to get snapped. And that's just a completely dead card, so the ace-queen is going to be good.
2200.
And he mugs it. We don't know exactly what the other card was for Mad Scientist. Maybe it was the case queen. Wow.
Just loaded.
Well,
here.
folks, that is a study in patience. Iceman has been sitting so long, like he was still stuck in the ice, just frozen by bad cards, and doubles up. Wow, and he goes to the front
quick
of the line.
in PLO. There's no doubt about that.
Well, yeah, it's like, I always say bomb pots are a good night of Hold'em gone bad or a bad night of Hold'em gone good. But this is a case where you're playing PLO all night and you're waiting for that one hand. Okay, it's showing us 7 of diamonds, which is an inconsequential card. He was basically trying to take a run at that hand, and he's now run out the room.
Oh, wow, that's the end for Mad Scientist. No, it looks like there's more chips there.
Yeah, he has
Maybe
some
he's
chips
just taking
behind.
a
You're
little
right. I
break.
think I'm seeing a little bit over the dealer's shoulder there.
Apparently, I folded the hand that had 53% equity because he folded ace king, so I was like, oh, I figured somebody else had ace king.
It's only going to run good against him.
So on to hand 54 here.
Yeah, I don't think he's run out of the room, but he has gone for a BC powder.
Maybe just walking it off a little bit.
Yeah.
Never a bad idea.
How many of you out there know what a BC powder is?
Not I.
You don't know?
No.
Oh man, that's a headache powder that country people have been taking for. I can't believe you're as country as you are and you don't know what a BC powder is.
I don't.
You ask your dad.
Okay. Will do.
There's it, Dad. What is a BC powder?
It's for headaches.
Yes, it's basically ground up aspirin that you drop into water.
Oh, okay. So kind of like not Alka-Seltzer.
Well, Alka-Seltzer is always for stomachs, but it's kind of the same idea. It tastes just as crappy.
So is it pretty effective?
I don't know if I've ever had one. I just know that my grandfather took them all the time, and they advertised them on Hee Haw. What does that tell you?
So my dad would definitely know because he liked that show.
I hated that show, but my parents watched it.
If my dad hears this, he'll be proud of me remembering how much he loved Hee Haw.
Oh, my gosh.
Top set here for Chase. It's been the night of set of kings.
Aces have been marginal, and kings have been king.
Yeah, everybody. We've had 1,000 aces, it feels like, but I don't think anybody's hit a set.
No, we haven't had one set of aces
we've
yet.
Had, what, 5 or 6 sets of kings, maybe?
Beeper, you were exactly right. Okay. What is a BC powder? It is chalk, although interesting spelling, that you drink. That is exactly what it is.
Is how it tastes?
It pretty much.
You know, I may have had one now that I think about it. I feel like I drank something that I didn't enjoy much when I was a kid if I had maybe a headache or hurt myself.
Whiskey?
What's that?
Back in the day, they used to put honey and whiskey together. Give kids when they're feeling.
Mama Frisbee didn't give me whiskey, but I think she may have given me BC powder.
She might have given you chalk.
I remember drinking something chalky I didn't like when I was sick.
Well, now if you had the really, really white, chalky tasting stuff, that's milk and magnesia.
No, I think I don't remember it tasting like that. I think it may have been. I'm gonna have to ask.
Yeah, milk and magnesia was stuff that they gave people for their.
Yeah, it's for your stomach. Like
now, what
acid,
magnesia is, I have no idea. It's one of those made-up country words.
You should know. You're a scientist.
That's magnesium, but I don't know what magnesia is. It sounds like you forgot what the word magnesium was, so you said, I got magnesia. All right. Bomber, as we come up on, this is our last hour. We play our bomb pot. Pretty detached board. A low end of the straight for man, the high end of the straight possibility for repot, which is the same that Todd has.
Pharaoh trip deuces.
Pharaoh's got the deuces, and so does Lunchbox.
So does Lunchbox. He's got a boat.
He does have a boat, but he's very, very susceptible to Pharaoh's higher draw cards. Although there were a lot, the jacks are gone, and the nines are pretty much gone too. So he's basically only trying to fade an 8 here to have that boat sail. Again, we see the cards. That's what we were just talking about.
The other thing to call out about Lunchbox's hand is he has like the worst boat, and he doesn't have overcards to improve really.
Yeah, and he's going to be scared to death of that king.
Yeah, king deuce is a problem. Obviously, pocket kings.
Yeah.
Looks like this will probably end in a chop.
Yeah, nothing is made on the bottom. There's no club draws. I take it back. The 9-2, Pharaoh does have club draw. Sorry, Callie, I didn't give you credit. And these two guys have played a ton of hands together. Know each other very well. So they know that probably neither one of them is going to get out of line. And pretty much nothing hits. Well, the clubs do hit on the bottom, so Callie's going to have the best on the bottom. Jeff is good on the top. I'm sorry, Lunchbox is good on the top. And he does make a really good call.
Wow.
So we're going to split this. Wow, that's a great call by Jeff. He had to fade kings, queens, king deuce, queen deuce. But that again, these players are very, very high level. So they're like, look, in all likelihood, the king deuce, is not there. The queen deuce is not there. So they both came to the right conclusion that a queen high flush was good and that a low boat was good.
Yeah, those are always tough spots when you're making a decision. You have sunk cost out there, but it's tough to make a call when you know it's just a split.
Yeah. Yeah, we try not to think too much in terms of like being pot committed. That's a really terrible poker thought.
Yeah.
I think the stupidest thing anybody says is, well, I was pot committed. Well, that's like saying I was cliff committed when I decided to jump. No, it's just stupid. It doesn't make any sense. You're never committed. I have said it myself, but it usually means I'm ready to go home, go to bed. So,
yeah. I kind of did that to myself the other day. I had an open-ended straight flush draw, improved the top pair.
Yeah.
And was, I frustrated that I didn't hit my draw, but I had top pair, and it wasn't a situation to go ahead and put your money in. But sometimes even when you flop a big draw, one of the keys is to not get married to it.
Yeah, I tell myself that in my head all the time. You're not married to this hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a hand like that tonight. I always play a little bit before we do the stream because I don't want to pull a muscle. I want to stretch out a little bit. And, I had one of those hands where I had all these hearts and all these straight draws, basically being open-ended on. I had ace 10, and the 10 was open-ended, 9-8-7, and I hit the ace. And it fooled me into being more optimistic than I should have been.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was playing somebody that played 10-9 suited and had 2 pair, and I lost money. And I'm like, see, there you go.
Yeah.
You were so happy to hit any of your cards that you overvalued your ace.
And I'm sure you'd agree with this. The most common hand people get married to is pocket aces.
Oh, my.
No limit hold'em.
They do, and yet they don't. It's such a polarizing hand to have. I see people give them up too quickly. We saw that in the final table at the $300,000.
Oh, that's right.
You remember the aces that were given up? And Lottie was apoplectic about it, and I agreed with it. Looks like we've got diamonds but I don't see anybody with diamonds. Oh, yep, Queen 10. Ryan has also got a pair, so he's feeling good right now.
Nobody else with much.
Now, it's going to be, Guapo's just got a queen, and the 10s have nothing to show for it, so he's not going to make any money on this.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it seems like people are polarized by him. They're afraid of him, so they overbet him early, and then they give him up too easily. I always, you know what corrects that thought for me more than anything? What range so we always think when a board like I'm playing ace-jack and a king hits and nobody bets into me, and I'm like, well, this is my range. I was the pre-flop aggressor. Well, I should do the same thing with aces. Don't just play my aces. Play my range, as obviously I've been the pre-flop aggressor if I have aces. Yeah. And if I've made a raise to 35 into a $20 pot and I got 2 callers, okay, what is my range right now? I know I've got the best possible in the range. I think most people, when they get aces, if they're aggressive players, they think, oh, I would really want to see a king on this flop because that person I can make money from.
Top pair.
Okay, but be careful. If it's 2 Broadway cards, now you may be in trouble with 2 pair. Or, well, who's to say if it's 9, 8, 7 that they don't have a set of 9s? So it's like, don't just think about what your hand is with aces, but think about what your range is and still think about what their range is. I think aces kind of put people into like a frozen brain freeze.
Yeah, it's kind of like the flopping a set thing of thinking it's your hand because you have aces. But what I always try to just tell myself over and over is I have 1 pair.
Yeah. That's a nice break check, that 1 pair.
Yeah, I've got 1 pair. Don't, And the other thing, too, is to your point about what your range is what type of thinking players are you playing against? Because if they play back at you and you think they're a thinking player based on the fact that you almost certainly 3-bet pre-flop, maybe 4-bet if, a 3-bet comes in from somebody else, they shouldn't be dumb enough to not know that you have a big pair.
Yeah.
So if they play back at you, they probably have 1 pair beat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. And like you said, you have to make so many on-the-fly adjustments to the players you're playing in that particular hand, because at a 1-2 table, there's such a variation. We talk about variance in PLO, that's in the cards. The variance in 1-2 is in the players.
Yes.
So, if I'm playing Johnny, you know Johnny, everybody,
right?
And we all know how good Johnny is.
Very good.
If Johnny comes back at me, I'm thinking he's most of the time put me on this hand or one of 4 hands.
Yeah.
So he's not coming at me light, just like you say. Whereas if I'm playing Joe Schmo from Okie Doke, Arkansas, and I'm like, okay, I don't even know if he's thinking about my range right now at all. That's where the variance.
That's when you just have to kind of go with it and hope that Joe Schmo from Arkansas isn't thinking about it. We have another set of kings here from Lunchbox.
I was just about to say.
Been the set of kings day.
The commentary does itself on a night like tonight. We have aces, as we've had, and we've got a set of kings, as we've had. Now, in this case, Lunchbox is also concerned about spades because he just has that. And now he's got the Broadways out there, although we don't have Broadway. So this is a really complex board that he's going to check, and Iceman is going to check back.
Yeah.
Unless he's got a sense that his aces are good for some reason. He does have 2 pair, Queen Jack. And he's got last position. Oh, this is going to be a really good move by Iceman, and it's going to be really difficult for for Lunchbox to call. Because that just looks like spades.
That's a flush or a straight so often.
Oh, so often.
That's a great move by Iceman, as you said.
This is the play of the night if it works. Otherwise, it's going to be the call of the night. Jeff's running it through his mind.
Yeah, it's going to be one or two the other. It's going to be the call of the night or the move of the night.
No, he didn't bet the spades on the turn. So he's like, does he really? This is Iceman saying, I've got the nut spade in my hand, and I've got 2 pair, which may be good. If it's not, what am I targeting? A set.
This is totally the ace of spades bluff.
Yeah.
Jeff is in the blender.
I think he's going to give it up.
I do too. You're just going to get shown bad news so often. Oh my gosh, he's reaching for chips.
Well, the good thing about it is Jeff's had a good night, and he may say, you know, I've got a little bit of everybody else's money to play with.
Here it goes.
Wow.
Yeah, great move by Iceman.
Wow, that was, you know, that's the bet of the night.
It really is. Yeah, that was a real poker move right there.
That is a smart poker player having a good read on another person's hand.
And the other thing, too, to
Not
say
being
for
afraid.
Jeff is can't blame him for the fold whatsoever. I mean,
No.
No.
I mean, he's sitting there thinking, this board is so wet with spades and Broadway that all would have checked until the queen showed up.
Yeah.
The spade's probably not, but he's also thinking, well, maybe because we didn't bet on the turn, a weaker spades, you know, decided to bet on the river.
Could have got there. I mean, that just
it's hard to
great
say.
Move by Iceman. Takes a lot of guts too, but that will put him in first place. He's up 1K now.
Yep. And he took a
Lunchbox
little bite out
still
of
winning.
Lunchbox.
Actually, only 3 players in the red, but we've had a couple.
Yeah,
folks.
we've had a departure or 2. Well, a departure 1.
Todd somewhat quietly up 700 plus.
Very quietly.
Playing very solid.
Yeah, and not playing a lot of hands.
Yeah, Todd doesn't strike me like a player that makes a lot of big, risky mistakes.
No, he's not. You know, you can look at this. Khaled's a solid. He's what I would call tight aggressive. You have seat 1 that's tight. Khaled is tight aggressive. You have seat 3 that's tight. You have Jeff, who can be tight but is pretty even. I'd say he's tighter side. Ryan, who's just tight aggressive, just a nice combination. We don't have as much of a read on oh gosh, what was his name?
Mad Scientist.
Mad Scientist. Very, very solid player in Chase. We've only got one night of data. And an extremely solid player that it can be tight aggressive or just a very balanced in Graham. I'm sorry, Iceman. Sorry, Iceman.
So we got a pair of aces. I'm going to guess no set because we've had aces. Oh! And look at my predictions.
Yeah, I started saying, you know, as soon as
it's the commentator
curse.
Jinx.
Yes, yeah. And Lunchboxes basically can hit anything right now from a 9 on up, or from a 10 on up.
Todd owes me for that one.
Yeah, he does.
I gave him the ace.
He did. Gave it to him right in the ace.
Open ender for Chase.
Yep. Lunchbox blocks a lot of that, but he's also wrapped all over this board. Khaled looks like he's got, I'm sorry, gosh, I keep using the real names, but I'm so used to sitting at the table with a fair row. He's going to come out with a call. So we basically got a bet by Chase, called by Todd with the nuts right now. Just called, I might add. He is aware of the draws. Lunchbox is going to call. Oh,
big raise from Lunchbox. He threw.
Okay, it's bounced around. He raised to 425. Chase looks like he gave up, or is going to give up his queens. He does have open ender. He can hit a king, an 8. He does have clubs, backdoored, but he's going to give it up. Yeah, not quite enough. So this is going to get down to Lunchbox, and
they're gonna. This is going to be a almost 3K pot because Todd jams.
Yeah, perfect by him. Perfect by him.
Is at risk though, Lunchbox. Ooh, Pharaoh thinking it over too.
He'll give it up. He doesn't have enough. He's got to hit a gutter, and he knows it. He could backdoor hearts, but he's going to give that up. It's another story as to whether Jeff, snapped it. Okay,
yeah.
He's got two. Say this is where a really good PLO player, and he asked, you want to run it once or twice? Todd will probably run it twice with him. That's just a safe thing to do. Yeah, looks like John's going to roll out 2 different boards here. And he hits. Jeff hits with the Jack Queen. Now he's got the nuts, essentially, Broadway. And he gets it again. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, he got the spades. He got this, almost got the straight flush.
26-30 headed his way.
Oh, wow. Jeff is looking at the camera like there. Do you see him look at the camera?
Yeah.
And maybe
like, did you see that?
Yeah, I get. You have to know Jeff and I.
he's way up.
Jeff's like, Tom.
Tonight.
Tom, you see what I did here? We talk. Jeff and I. I'm sorry, Icebox, Lunchbox. We got too many names. We talk about this hand all the time. And how much you love this. We talk about, do we like the Jack to the 8 better?
Yeah.
Or, we talk about this hand all of the time. And this board is like the ideal situation for that hand, especially with the backdoor spades. Wow.
Oh, and that's it for Todd.
I don't blame him. I might pull the ripcord on that one, too. Well, that was hand of the night, folks. You saw it on hand 58. A big lunchbox hitting somebody that was up $700 or $600 on the night for himself and taking away the largest pot of the night.
And that's the challenge of PLO, too. Well, really.
That was so classic PLO. Top set.
Yeah, I mean, he has the nuts you can't fold, but, I mean, he was at risk there.
Yeah. The variance, that is the variance of PLO in action.
Well, and the other thing, too, is we talked about Todd being quietly up a little over 700. If he wins that pot, he's the big winner of the night.
Yeah.
He was 60+%, but Jeff gets there twice.
It's so hard to get dinged on both boards, though.
Yeah.
That's the really difficult thing to take. That's why you run it twice. That's where I'd ask to run it 3 times, because I want to, and I'm doing that more, asking because I want a definitive winner, even if it's you and not me. I will say this, you know what the real killer of that hand was? The fact that you cursed him with aces.
Oh, that's true.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, Ann. My friend Ann Sadari, who I'd like to draw attention to, I'm going to put her comment for everybody to see. This is a really good comment. Todd was holding one of his own boat outs.
Yeah.
That's a really good comment. I've always said she's so much more intelligent than her husband. Phil. So basically, that's a great comment. That's one of the things you have to kind of consider, although it's very, again, we see the cards. By the way, Ann got 6th place in the Walmart.
Oh,
roll.
yeah.
Did I tell you? I mentioned that earlier in the
play.
stream. Yeah. Great poker player. One of the best poker players I know. I hate to say it, and the best thing about playing with her is that when I come over the top of her on a bet, she will give me the most deadly stare you've ever gotten in your life. It's like looking at the eye of a white shark.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, Jeff played it perfectly, obviously, but I do feel for Todd there. I mean, he really made no mistakes, played, as you said, tight aggressive. You get it in with the nuts, and sometimes it doesn't hold.
Yeah. Her husband, Ann's husband, Phil, gave me a book on Big O and Omaha 8, which I still have not given back to him, by the way. It's like that lawnmower your neighbor bought. But, yeah, Walmart, and you know what I mean by Walmart. It talks about that so much, about those range of hands in Omaha 8, which is a split pot game, or a Big O, and they're built on the PLO premise of what the best hands are and where your equity spreads over a certain number of players. And it really gets you in touch with how much you will like what Jeff had there almost always to the set. We joke about the flop set in bomb pots is like the kiss of death. There's a good example of it right there. You essentially ran 2 boards, and the ace is lost on both. So I don't believe Todd for leaving as we get a new player, Kong, into seat 2, and we welcome him to the table.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I mean, well played by Jeff. And actually, you made a point a second ago that I agree with. I prefer once or 3 times also. In fact, I did that a couple days ago playing.
Are you doing that more yourself? Kind of.
I always prefer 3.
Oh, did you? I kind of only got in touch with that. I had a really good player, I think it was Jay Wynn, told me, Tom, you need to stop telling people to run it twice. They're playing crap because they know you're a nice guy and you'll play it twice. So I'll tell them once or 3. And sometimes I'll even say, and they'll go, well, I'd really like to run it 2. I said, okay, then once. Kind of slam the door on them, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people don't know this, and if you're listening and you're not super familiar with this, there's no actual result difference in running it multiple times other than reducing variance. So your likelihood of winning doesn't change whatsoever over time. So if you ran it once 1,000 times or 3 times 1,000 times, you would end up with approximately the same amount of money.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy to reduce the variance in big spots, but
it's just such an unfortunate but classic hand of PLO in so many different ways. As we have a fairly, that looks like Ace King is going to chop it.
Yeah, quick all in call.
Yeah. Very
Chop
similar hands, although the better suits for the mad scientist. And that kind of, one of those things that I always say to myself, always show up to the PLO party with wearing a suit, at least one suit, that in that case, mad scientist had a much better hand. Obviously, he also had 3 Broadway cards, so he had a little higher value hand. And he was crushing Guapo with his ace-10 of clubs. Of course, again, he didn't know this, but they ended up chopping. So we go from a 2-board run-out crushing of Lunchbox over Todd to a chop. That's kind of the full range of possibilities. The Riley Death Glare. Oh my goodness. The Riley Death Glare. Yeah. Yeah. That and right here is Phil, her husband, calls that stare she gives me the Riley Death Glare. Yeah. I know the first time I saw it, I burst into laughter. But it was I'll say this, it was a little bit of laughing at Bigfoot when he walks down the trail. It was a little bit of fear.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, Ann.
You didn't have a plus though, right?
I will say the next time I saw her husband, I gave him a big hug, gave him a knowing look. So, well, appreciate all of you. Almost 100 of us in the chat now. If you got any comments for us. Did you ever get the death glare from a player?
Ask a question, make a comment.
Yeah.
We're happy to engage.
Tell us what you thought of that hand. We got into some deep analysis there.
You mentioned suits in poker.
Yep.
I have a very random story that I'll make quick as we see pocket aces from Chase.
What a surprise. How many times have we said that tonight?
I'll save it until after.
You got to say what? Oh, about the suits?
Yeah, quick story about suits in poker.
By the way, how good do our floors look with their suits?
Yeah,
now?
they look very.
They look really
if
good.
If you walk in, you look like you're in a. It looks like you're in a high-end country club.
Yeah,
basically. It's also a great place to watch a game. I've come.
Yeah, it is.
Actually,
you're talking about like on the big TV, like a football game.
Yeah, for the second half of the Cowboys game this last week, I left my house at halftime, got here in time, watched the second half, played some cards. It was great.
That's one thing I can't do. I can't watch the Cowboys and play poker.
Well, it's probably not my most focused poker.
No.
It probably makes me tighter pre-flop. Like 10-8 suited.
It definitely makes me
good
angrier.
If you want to see if Dak Prescott can complete a pass.
As Queen Jack is the nuts, so it looks like Repot, who's got all of this board.
Once again, aces get cracked by a set.
Other than hearts and 3 jacks and 3 queens, Repot completely missed this board.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
Dominated.
Well, I think he acted out of turn.
Oh, yeah. He started to expose his cards. It looks like he definitely didn't intend to do that. But no. We've all done it once or
No,
twice.
yeah, absolutely, especially when you just crush the flop.
Yeah.
So I'm confused here because it's showing that he had Queen Jack. Now he's got Ace Jack.
He has jacks full of queens.
Chase wins with aces. Okay, obviously we're having card reader problem, big time.
Yeah, so Chase won somehow.
Okay, so we just, folks, everything you just saw was an illusion.
Well, the other thing too is repot is in the one seat, and when the dealer throws the cards out, it goes over the one seat sensor to number 2 a lot.
Yeah.
So that's probably
and we do hit. John's a new dealer to the live stream, so he may be a little less. He is pitching over those spots. Yeah, we've talked about that before at the old building.
Yeah.
That sometimes you'll get some confusion
We can't hit it in PLO.
on those readers. If you could see, folks, if you're looking right over Kong's right shoulder there's the star in front of him, or there you can see it in front of Chase. The dealer's pitching over Iceman's little sensor to the 8 seed. So sometimes in that, if it's on the felt, it'll pick up that card and assign it to the wrong player. Mad Scientist generally has just not got good reads tonight. I think he's not.
Mad Scientist. We don't have any. I think it might be his first time on stream, and maybe just.
In this case, we've got a ton of
misreads.
Yeah, misreads, and so we may be having an issue. We haven't gotten anything from our producer, Kristen, so don't know exactly why that's happening.
Well, Chase wants to make a big raise pre-flop. We haven't seen a lot of big 3-bets pre-flop.
And not from Chase.
Yeah. It's down to Mad Scientist. He's only got 420 behind, so this is all in or, well, he just calls. I was saying all in or fold. Guess he'll choose to see a flop with only about a half pot, a little more size bet left.
As we get an all-heart flop. Of course, we have no idea if anybody's got hearts, but Mad Scientist is going to push at this very quickly with a large bet. Looks like it's going to be about 350. Oh, he's all in for 290.
Yeah.
Because you get a ticket. Yeah, you get a ticket.
I'm actually going to give Mad Scientist a little credit here for, he may have known he was going all in, but he wanted the chance to put pressure on after the flop.
Yeah, and obviously Chase has it already. Maybe he, we don't know what the cards did, folks. We really apologize for this. We don't know what the problem is, and we're not getting a view that will show us the cards. But
Looks like Mad Scientist is mucking.
Yeah, he's mucking his hearts, or his big heart. Not sure what won that hand.
Chase gonna win another nice one.
Yep.
Oh, I'm gonna have to call this one out. A chat.
All right. Ed says, hello, Tom Glad. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. You know, that's what I've called Tom's voice the whole time I've known him, but I'm just finally getting to reveal that's how I...
Yeah, no. Oh, man.
Hey, you know, nobody's ever said anything in chat about my voice. I mean, maybe...
Because you do have the smooth, silky voice.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do compared to me. And believe me, Anne probably was... she had that smirk look on her face. No, she's sweet. But my voice is about smooth as silky as, I don't know, grits.
You're still America's favorite uncle. So,
I am.
You know,
I am.
With your smooth, silky voice. I hate that I'm going to have to, you're going to remind me of that all the time.
Yeah, I won't be singing for you. If I sing, it's, oh, what a surprise, Pharaoh has aces. I'm going to say that now every time. Oh, what a surprise. Yeah. Well, what a surprise in my smooth, silky
Somebody
voice.
has aces.
Oh, what a surprise.
King high flop. was that the smooth
That was an
silk?
attempt, is what that was. That was me punting off.
You're just a crooner on the mic, Tom.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. In my own mind.
So we've got a pair of kings for Pharaoh, and yeah,
pair of kings
Kong.
is
Pair and a straight draw. No, 2 pairs.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, he's got 8-4. Really not straightening up yet. He's wrapped around that 8 a little bit. That is not going to kind of close out the story. That completely flips the story.
Ryan jumping out ahead.
And it's rainbow too, which, believe me, that Pharaoh hates. So Ryan's going to think he's good here almost always. He's not going to get any callers, I'm guessing.
Last queen.
There's no straight draws. There's no suit draws. This is about as safe a bet as a man has ever
It's only
made.
like 39%.
He doesn't know that. But again, he's getting called by mad scientists, which I'm not real sure what he's calling. He can't hit a gutter.
What's that? Saw that? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting call. I'll tell you what, great to have Mad Scientist, though. He's
Yes.
giving some action here.
And he certainly validated the first part of
He
his
is.
name. Yeah.
Drawing.
And now you're, maybe a little bit afraid of 8-4, which is gone from the scene. So right now Ryan, or not Ryan, but I think it was. I'm not sure exactly who did have the 8-4, but
I think Ryan's going to check, yeah. Has to take his showdown.
yeah, he's got all the showdown value.
If you raise, you only get called by hands that
Remember
beat
we
you.
were talking about that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, who you getting called by if you make a raise
Yeah.
there? Only better hands. So
Especially if they check to you on the river.
yeah,
That's the nuts or not calling you.
exactly. So if it is a trap, they could be checking.
Mm-hmm.
But if you bet and they check, they're never calling. So that's not just in PLO.
On to a bomb pot.
Do you mind very much if I take a break? I need to go gargle.
I kind of wish
I
you
just
would.
want my voice is getting
Do you
a
have
little
to?
strained.
Do you have to clear the pipes
Yeah,
because of your
I'm gonna
smooth,
go,
silky voice?
Yeah, I'm going to go get a BC powder and
Okay.
gargle.
So Uncle T's taking a quick break. We're on to this bomb pot.
I'm gonna go.
We'll be with you a little over 30 more minutes until 10 o'clock Central. If you're watching after the fact, give us a like, a subscribe, leave a comment. We would love to hear your feedback.
Oh my gosh. Come on. Hit dice. Come on. Hit.
8 checks, 9 checks.
I'm gonna check.
1 checks. 3 checks, 4 checks, 5 checks.
So everybody with a little equity here.
7 makes 80.
Mad Scientist. He's got 2 pair. Chase has a flush draw. Pharaoh with the worst flush draw on the bottom board. Pharaoh is going to improve to trip 8s on the bottom. And Ryan with his full house on the top, 7s full of 6s is going to bet out. Looks like he's going to go full pot. Pharaoh in a tough spot to try to chop this pot. Pretty tough to call with just trips, and looks like he is folding. So nice bet by Ryan. He'll take down the whole thing with his one-way hand. V-Pips, Mad Scientist, he only joined us 18 hands ago, but he's playing, appears all but one of them, 94% V-Pip. Iceman, 21, Lunchbox, 33.
I'm pretty positive he did.
Along with Chase and Guapo at about 40+%.
Good laydown.
Yeah, great fold.
I just don't like having winning hands.
Yeah, man, what do you mean? You make that quiet. You're trying to.
Same hands, bro.
Anybody needs any reds, I am happy to use a waste of your fucking reds.
No.
Oh, bet you gotta scan it one more time. Oh, you got it. One straddles, 2 calls, 3 calls. 4 calls. 5 calls. 6 folds. 7 makes 75.
By the way, I have an announcement after this hand. We have a correction. I'll tell you after this hand. What? No aces? Ace queen.
Yeah, we've had aces seemingly every other hand.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Seen a lot of good play tonight. Previous bomb pot there, Ryan made a nice pot-sized bet to take down the full pot when he would have been chopping, which, as we talked about earlier, Uncle T, is one of the keys to being profitable in bomb pots.
Yep. Looks like Jack 9 for Lunchbox. Wrapped around it with the Queen 10 is Mad Scientist. Mad Scientist has been somewhat mad, and he's going to make a big bet. Doesn't have any. He does have the backdoor clubs. Backdoor hearts for Pharaoh. Decides to give it up. Guapo can't. Hasn't got much that he can stick around with. A pair of threes. He's going to give it up. Jeff, I'm sorry.
Wow, looks like Lunchbox is about to take down a little more to his sizable profit.
Oh, just nuts it. Yep.
It's been that kind of night.
It has
for
been.
Lunchbox.
Lunchbox has had a good night, and Mad Scientist has not.
No, actually, as you took a short break, they showed V-Pips, and Mad Scientist was at 94%.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Came to give some action.
Yeah, he did.
Great to have on
Okay,
stream.
quick announcement. We have a correction to the promo, which we were talking about starts tomorrow night, $500 an hour. It is actually started up tonight. They brought it in a day early. So as I went out and I saw how many people after 8 o'clock had shown up, people follow the money. They are here for the, now it's running. So we're going to go all the way from here till Sunday night at midnight.
Wow. That's an awesome promo.
So we're in our second hour of it right now. We had the 8 o'clock, and now we're in the 9 o'clock hour.
Yeah, I was under the impression it was
it's really fun too, just to see on the board who's ahead.
Yeah.
You know, when the clock ends, there sometimes is a person that gets it in. Actually, there was a similar promo a while back, and some guy got the high hand with like a minute and 30 seconds left in the hour. So,
well, you know
very
what's
fun.
funny to me is the table will start rooting for your table to win
Yeah.
one of them. So we had that. I was playing with some of the players that are day players, Leslie and a couple of the others, and we were rooting for our table that was getting nothing. And finally, we got quad aces. Unfortunately, it was Jerome our floor, so we gave him a hard time about getting quad aces. But we did. That was when it was $500 over 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you had a little better chance. We even saw sixes over fives win $500. So come on out. Come out tonight. It'll be running all night long and through till Sunday night.
What's the best promo you've ever won?
You know, I win so few. I always joked I never made quads of the day over at the old facility. I did win a square in the football squares the other night, but I got two terrible numbers. You know, we had that promo where if you got I had aces over queens.
Win the square?
I didn't know. I had 6 and 8, which, was a baseball score at best. But the best promo I've ever won was actually had nothing to do with poker. But that it was pitiful. I won a car detailing. For my company.
You called into the radio and.
I forgot. I'm an idiot. I did win something on the radio.
Oh, wow.
I won tickets to the Cowboy game where Emmitt Smith broke Walter Payton's record.
Oh, my gosh.
How could I forget that?
Yeah.
I won tickets to the Cowboys. They were playing against Seattle. And took my old roommate from college, Jake Zepp, and we went to the game. It was a beautiful day, and not great seats, but we got to see Emmitt break the record.
You know,
How did I
maybe you
forget
sat
that?
in the seats I have in my living room. I have 2 Texas Stadium
You're kidding.
seats in my living room.
You're kidding.
Yeah,
Got them at an auction or something?
No, I bought them from a friend. And we got more pocket kings
against
and pocket
aces.
aces.
Two pairs of aces. I don't know if this is
Oh,
a
wow.
mystery,
That's
but we
all
got
the aces.
Well, folks, this is a culmination of how our night's gone. I'm going to go come sit in the seat someday. That means I'm inviting myself to your house. By the way.
No, you should. There's 2, but they're awkwardly close. So I don't know if you'd want to sit next to me to watch
No,
it. But
no.
Yeah.
I don't even like sitting next to people on a bus.
You're sitting too close to me right now.
I know. I'm pushed all the way up against the wall, folks. Well, the Kings are amazingly ahead here. I had a hand like this with Kenny and Chris one night where I thought, pot, repot, I've got suited Kings, double suited.
God, we haven't seen a multi-way big pot like this
Not
all
to this
night.
level pre-flop. This is by far the biggest pre-flop hand we've had. Well, it was up high, and now it's back down, so I don't know exactly how much we've got here. Okay, we're bouncing around a little bit. Forgive us, folks. Now we're showing the right amount. 26.46. Guapo went all in with his aces. Iceman 3-bet to 16.75. All in 115, all in 134. Now Mad Scientist is trying to figure out how do I not have value here. And he's been the most gambly tonight, so he calls 350. So it's jumped up and down, but basically the big bet. Now Worldwide is upset that he's not in the hand. Or it's like, I wanted a hand like this. The aces are really in bad shape here, although they're suited clubs and spades. Guapo's got the spades. Iceman's got the clubs.
Lunchbox, if he spikes a king, his night's just going to get better.
Or diamonds are clear here. So the ace of diamonds in Guapo's hands, and nobody else has got diamonds. So he's actually got a fair amount of equity, 26%, the most of anybody in the hand. I take it back. Pharaoh's got also he's got the hearts. No, he doesn't have the hearts. Kong's got the hearts. So
looks like we're getting caught up here too because Lunchbox is folded, but he still shows on the screen there. So it looks like this is going to be probably
so the
more than
kings
aces.
are okay. The kings are out of this hand.
Yeah.
With probably the most equity. But Jeff, being a smart player, is like, the aces are out there. Now, what he does know is they're all gone. Like I said, I had a hand with Kenny and Chris where they pot repot. I have the kings, and I'm like, what's those sons of guns that got aces? And I was right. And I got berated afterwards for calling with kings. What do you think we had there? And I told him, I said, I thought you both had. And guess what I hit on the turn? King.
Nailed the king.
Nailed the king, and they were not happy with me. It didn't bother me much.
A stream out west, there was an incredible hand where it was aces versus kings versus kings.
Wow.
Think about a great spot.
Yeah.
You basically cannot lose.
Unless you get suited somehow.
Yeah, very low percentage.
Not even going to get traded. So as dry a board as you could get, except for the fact that Pharaoh has hit. For a smaller part of the pot, he has hit. And he's now makes the boat. There are no fours out there, and the jacks and the aces and jacks.
But nobody with
nobody has a jack, so the aces are good for the. Iceman is going to win the large piece of the pot.
$2,000 going his way.
Pharaoh's going to win 500
between all the side pots.
Yep.
What a hand.
Yep.
Makes it easy to fold kings when everybody.
No suits. No jacks, no fours, but the eights over jacks is the big hand. And you did see, they showed Pharaoh's hand. He had 26% pre-flop. He had the same as the kings in the equity. So in reality, the highest equity hand won.
Yeah.
Because the aces versus aces.
Such as PLO. Pretty amazing nobody had, well, you'd need a jack with a friend, but
yeah,
which is less likely because the four's paired, but yeah, pretty awesome hit there.
Iceman, the big winner in this hand.
Yeah, Iceman.
Iceman has really crushed it tonight. He's played two really huge hands. Now, Guapo is going to make some money here, but being that he was short stack, it's not going to be as much. So he's going to take half of all the pots, and he's going to take the biggest pot, Iceman. Again, Pharaoh wins 500. Guapo essentially gets quartered.
What do I want?
And is only going to have $330 behind. Iceman with 4.5K, by far our big winner tonight.
By far.
By 3.5. And we can honestly say that the first hour and a half he played zero hands, really.
Yeah, he played well, and this is the went to showdown numbers, but he's on the lower end of the VPIPs, but there is something to be learned from that. Playing more hands typically doesn't correlate with more profit.
Not in PLO.
If you overdo it.
Yeah, you can overcook that like mad scientist has pretty easily.
So I would say Graham has picked his spots quite well. Obviously.
Yeah, and he's hit. You know, it's not like he's just been a Jedi Master, as we have a Jedi Master on our Jedi Master Ted on here. He hasn't really. He made that one incredible bet.
Incredible bluff.
Yeah, that turned his hand into a bluff. So we give him credit for that. But he's run well in the few hands that he's gotten involved in heavily.
Well, and the funny thing is Todd would be close on his heels if his top set had just held.
Oh yeah.
You know, you get it all in with the nuts, and next thing you know, you're out of the door.
Yeah, exactly. And he lost those two boards, which is even harder to take. That's one of the few things that's really, really painful to me. I'm pretty even-tempered. I don't get upset about much. I always tell people, yeah, I used to be married. I'm not going to get too up or down. But when you lose, when you're ahead 2 boards, that is painful.
That is painful. Yeah.
It's, again, one of the reasons that I'll most likely run 3 now. Or just 1 and take my medicine. Because I found that when I have lost 2, and it seems like I don't have very many where I've won both, I did have the aces versus queens that I won twice. But that's kind of expected.
Yeah.
because the person's not really on a draw other than to their queens. So I'm mostly going to run it once, and then if they really wouldn't, if I'm being nice, I'll run it 3 times then.
Well, and one thing I would add, and I'm sure you would agree with this, but if we do run it 3 times, I tip a little extra if I'm the winner.
Yes.
Because it is more work
very
for the
much
dealer,
so.
so it's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I mean, I have ranges in my head based on pot size of what I tip anyway.
Yeah.
So if I sweep though, I'll raise that number a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good thought to share with people. If you do win 2 boards that you were behind on, give the credit where the credit's due. It's not with you.
Yeah.
It's like when I got those aces right after the Royal. The first tip was good on the Royal because that was all Jesse. The second tip was a lot better because he followed up my Royal with aces on a player that I knew that I could get to jam.
Yeah.
So that was a gift from Jesse. And if you're going to blame the dealer for your bad beats, then you better give him credit for your good beats.
Yeah. And I would say the first step in that is don't blame the dealer for your bad beats.
Yes, exactly.
It's not. They're just dealing
Well,
cards.
it's kind of like saying, if you're going to be dumb 50% of the time, then try to balance it out with smart 50% of the time. But I agree. Just be even. And be even better than that, be kind to our dealers. They're the best dealers in town. I was just talking to somebody outside. They were telling me about the promo, and we were talking about other places and the overall energy and how great the energy is here. And I said that is a direct reflection of the top down.
Yeah.
I do VC work on the side with Stony Lonesome Ventures out of Florida, out of Tampa Bay. And one of the things we talk about is the team. Your product can be great, your market can be great, but if you don't have the team and if you don't have the top to bottom philosophy of a business, you're going to be unsuccessful.
Yeah.
This place has got the top to bottom, positivity, employee support, just all the way down.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm a homer,
investment,
but
too.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all excited about the new club opening. Beautiful new club we're in at the moment. And you can tell the reason it took, we were all excited. We wanted it to open sooner than later, but
yeah,
it was worth the wait because they clearly put attention into every detail. And we've talked about this a lot. If you don't play a ton of poker, you wouldn't realize how important this is, but the lighting is great. You just feel comfortable. It's a
low
pleasant,
stress.
environment overall, along with the other amenities, of course. But, yeah, they put thought into everything.
Yeah, they did. And it, as one of the players outside was telling me, when you play here for the last month and a half and all the positive things that have happened here, and then you go to some other place, that's where you see the contrast.
Yeah.
It's like getting out of the bath and into the cold ocean. There's a real contrast in the atmosphere. But again, that's a compliment from the top down. I always like talk about how much I love these dealers and how good they are. But it's all the stuff all the way around. All right, we're on hand number 69. We're approaching our last 15 minutes here. So we thank all of you for joining us tonight and that have been in the chat, listening to our soft, silky voices.
Yeah.
And our redneck accents.
You definitely got the chat of the night, Tom.
Yeah, well.
It's actually smooth silk.
And you're back on my Christmas card list.
I'm only collecting them for future.
Ace, king, and a pair of nines. As we see a rainbow low flop, which is more for the 5-4 on Kong's end.
Yeah.
But Ryan right now has the best draw with a open ender, and he's got the nines. So as the machine catches up a little bit, gets a little spastic.
Yeah, 7-5 and gets there.
Yes, but the diamonds also come in, and we've got ace high diamonds and queen high diamonds.
Yeah, so Ryan has crushed this turn, but at risk here. Iceman's definitely not. Oh, he does let the nut flush.
You know what?
grow.
When you're having the night that you're having, it makes those folds easier.
Well, and Ryan goes full pot.
Yeah.
It's tough to make that call with one street to go.
And Kong's going to call in with the worst diamonds, which are now the best diamond draws. Guapo's thinking about his small diamonds. He gives them up. It's very unlikely diamonds hit. We had 6, 7 diamonds out in the card removal zone.
Only 4 left.
But
and
a diamond hits. Oh, wow.
Diamonds
How
get
did the
there for
diamonds
Kong.
get there? And this is going to slow up Ryan. But
Oh,
Kong,
and Ryan, well, he still has his straight, but he makes a set.
Yeah,
as
he's got a little insurance that he doesn't care about. And it's going to be a fairly big bet. Looks like a 150, 145. 140.
Brutal spot for
Boy,
Ryan.
that's a really good sizing on the bet. Just a quarter of the pot.
But to your point earlier, it's kind of begging for a call, and I feel like Ryan, the way he's holding
What do
his
I always
cards,
say? A value bet is the most suspicious thing you can do.
And the good thing to remember about that, too, is you can bluff with the value bet size.
Yeah.
Again, depending on player type. But
right now, Iceman is just irritated to snot at himself.
Ooh. Yeah, that has to be... it's the lonely feeling of what could have been.
Ryan kind of missteps a little bit, but understandably so, having turned the nuts.
The one other thing I would point out, too, is Kong bet so fast.
Yeah, yeah, he did.
And I haven't seen Kong play a lot, so maybe he always does that. But it is something to keep in mind, you know, when you have a hand which you want to get called, you know, as he did there. Sometimes it's
yeah, I agree. Yeah. Like you said, we don't have much profile on how quickly he acts. As Iceman is way out ahead, $3,000 up. Lunchbox right behind him with 2.5. Good night for those gentlemen. Chase has had a good night, a nice steady night. He's not at the table right at the minute, but he's had a nice night. Kong has just made his evening better, and Repot been surfing that $300-400 above. Guapo and Pharaoh, obviously. Pharaoh struggled all night. He just hasn't got a lot of cards, and when he's gotten good cards, he hasn't hit.
Yeah,
it's very
best
PLO situation to be in.
I got to point out, Iceman is up my lucky number, or not up, but his stack is 4.44K.
Yeah.
So I have to tell my suits and
I thought it was
poker
444.
Well, you can take the decimal out.
Ah, okay. There you go.
I still count it. But I'll try to make it quick. One time I was at Neiman Marcus here in Austin, and I was looking at suits, and I see a gentleman next to me that looks familiar, and it's Sam Farha.
What? Sammy? Sammy
Yes.
DeSig?
Yeah, so the irony was, you know, he's known, and if you've watched poker since the moneymaker boom in the early 2000s, we've got a pair of kings here for Guapo. Jack high flop.
So I think if Guapo had spades as well.
The irony was he was shopping for suits, which he's known for.
Yes, very
so
natty.
I went over to him, said, "Are you Sam Farha?" And he gave me like the cool nod, like, "Yeah, that's me." And we chatted for a minute, took a picture. Very nice guy.
Yeah, I've heard he's a great guy. Some of the poker community don't like him very much, but I've always thought he was great. And that Chris Moneymaker Final 2 was made him very famous.
The start of a lot of
9-6 of spades. Is that the best spades that we've got out there? Looks like. But otherwise, I'm looking for the straights.
Yeah, Lunchbox also has a 7-5, so an open ender and a sort of
two pair
junky
for
flush draw.
repot. Lunchbox is going to bet his open ender. He's wrapped all over this board. He just wants to see one of his own cards, basically. But, you know, as Ann pointed out earlier in that boat opportunity, you've kind of got your own outs here through Lunchbox, and he misses.
So we're to the river here, and Pharaoh's going to take that one down. So we are down to the last few hands here, folks. Thanks to everybody who's hopped in the chat, watching live right now.
Okay. Well, we just got our producer, Kristen, came in and told us this is going to be our last hand of the night. So real quickly, I'm going to go over the fact that we had the promotion that starts tomorrow night that is $500 per hour is actually, thank you, Kristen, as I said earlier, is now actually running. So I went outside for break and somebody said, hey, it's running now. So come on down. Also, we've got the free brunch, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. Come down for a free brunch. And again, it's a hopping place right now out there.
Yeah, we're in a studio room near the main floor.
Is that what we call this, the studio room?
Yeah, it's a broadcast in the studio
room. The broadcast
room, right?
booth, yes.
Yeah.
Or we could just call it a closet.
And you can definitely hear the hustle and bustle out there.
Oh, yeah,
There's a lot
it
of
is
folks
hopping
playing
out
poker.
there.
Yeah. I'm from small town shit. I'm from College Station.
So again, this is our last Bob Pot of the night. We thank all of you for being with us tonight. Thank you for the chat. Good night, Miss Riley, and your husband, and all of you that joined us tonight. We really appreciate it. It's been a great night. We saw some crazy hands. Saw some big hands.
Really did.
We
Some
saw
great
some
moves.
bad beats.
Yeah,
and a couple of great moves.
Yeah, one outer with the quad nines was pretty wild. And
that was insane.
Iceman making a really nice move, knowing he holds the nut flush blocker.
Yeah.
So see here, Pharaoh with a lot of equity. Get his card loaded up on the screen here momentarily. Iceman with a set of, nope, card changed. Annie says good night, folks. Good night, Annie. Thanks for chatting. And Iceman's going to have a scoop in a smallish one. Yeah, so Iceman's going to make the bet, and he's going to scoop that pot.
Appreciate y'all. Have a great weekend. See you at the TCH Social.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. It's been a great time, Uncle T. I'm Kyle Wemmo,
Yeah,
Frisbee.
it's been
This
fun.
has been TCH